everyone, and welcome back for another week of Growing with My Fellow Growers. I'm your host, Jack Greenstock, joined as always by an amazing panelist. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there, and happy Father's Day to Spartan Grown. Welcome.
Thank you, Jack. Happy Father's Day to you too, and all the fathers out there. Even you could be a plant father, right? I got so many plant kids out there. But I am Spartan Grown. You can find me on Instagram at Spartan Grown with all one word, no spaces. Or you can shoot me a email, spartangrown@gmail.com, and I can help you with all of your lighting or growing questions.
Happy to have you back. And tonight we're going to do a little bit of Father's Day Q&A with our live chat here on YouTube. So if you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the live chat. Feel free to tag at myself at Jack Greenstock or Spartan Grown here. And we also might talk a little bit about the fathers, the actual father plants, the males that we breed with and grow with, because Spartan and myself have both done a little bit of breeding now. And at this point, I know that one of your initial breedings was more of a open pollination, but I'm curious if and when we get into that topic later on, if you have some ideas about what you might want to select for when it comes to males, whether it's genetic lineage or structure or smells or something else entirely. So we can get into that a little bit later, but I want to welcome in everybody. We got Jeffro for 2069 and Operation Annihilation rolling into the chat first and second. And Jeffro's got the #1 crown from last week, so he's been active in the chat. Hopefully they're doing well. Everyone out there doing well. And hopefully the gardens are doing well. And another topic I was going to consider is talking about maybe like resetting, restarting, and how to clean and just kind of disinfect and restart. Just start fresh, start clean. Even if you're starting brand new with new stuff, some tips and tricks to start off on the right foot. But without further ado, I guess maybe I could pass it to Spartan and just get a little update on how's the garden going on.
Oh, the garden is going well. Right now I've got two gardens. I've got an outdoor garden with the vegetables, a lot of vegetables going. We did a big expansion this year. Me and Emily have been working hard out there. So we've got tons of vegetables, but we still got about I think four or five plants going out there. So that's going to be fun. They're all, I think, confirmed females, if I remember correctly. But it's a mix of all different things. And the indoor, we have harvest coming soon with two of the gas that I popped from Brandon that I got from Brandon, and he did F2s of Capulators gas. And the one that I've been following, kind of been having my eye on a lot. At first, for like 2 or 3 weeks of flower, it smelled exactly like beef jerky to me, like exactly like beef jerky. But these last two couple weeks of it finishing off, it's more turning really, really gassy. And so that has just been so interesting to me. And it's also kind of been the more stout plant, more stunted. It's not as big but this one also seems to have a longer flower window. Like it's staying green a lot longer. The other one's ready to harvest. This one's probably gonna go another week. But just the profile on it right now, the real gassy, strong gassiness. I'm loving that because I don't have anything super gassy. The other gas too is it's still gassy, but it's a different thing. It's just a different thing. And I don't know, and we don't even have a clone of that one if I remember. That one didn't clone, so it doesn't matter. Well, I guess I could have re-vegged it, but so the
That
one
makes
that
the
we do,
decision process a little easier, but especially when
it
you're looking,
does.
it's got the namesake on the other one. It smells like gas. It's called gas. I think
Yep.
gas is actually an acronym for like great aunt's secret, like your father's sister or whatever, aunt, however you pronounce it. But great aunt's secret, aka gas. But I'm imagining that they called it that with the idea that it probably smells like gas. And I think it's some sort of like starfighter cross, if I remember correctly from what Brandon
Yeah.
spoke about it. So it sounds like a lot of fire going on in there. I also just noticed that we have the American one who's rolling into the Zoom with us. And as soon as he's able to hear me and unmute his microphone, he can go ahead and welcome himself and introduce himself. Cheers, Tal.
Hey, Jack Martin, everyone in chat. I am the American one on the YouTube and the American one underscore what's underscore Keens over on the IG. And yeah, I'm glad I made it today.
Say happy Father's Day to you as your plant father. And who knows, as you've said,
Thank
claimed in the past.
to all the fathers. Yep, yep.
But it's Spartan just gave a little bit of an update on his garden, and I know that you've also got your garden going on now. Curious if anything new or exciting is going on in the garden on your end, Tal.
Nothing good right now, I gotta say. Yeah, nothing good. I had some casualties, and yeah, time is not. Yeah, it's just not good right now.
Admittedly, I'm sort of on the same track. I over-vegged everything a little bit, and GG4 being as stretchy as it is, I decided instead of fighting against the stretch with some overgrown, basically few-month-old mother plants in my flower space, instead of flowering them, I just decided I'll take as many cuts as I can and root those and just start fresh with cuts that are appropriately sized, because I'm not gonna try and kick off my inaugural run, I guess, so to speak, in this little flower tent with something that I know is going to be a burden going in. Because, in my opinion, if you're already like 60 or 70% of the way through your grow space and you're in veg still, uh, even after whacking them back a little bit, it's going to be a huge challenge in flower, especially with GG4, which does tend to be a little bit on the stretchier end. The other ones, there's some unknowns because there's some varieties that I haven't grown before, and so with the whole open source genetics alliance, trying to get as many people as many clones as possible, I got more focused on that than I did on my own flower room for a little bit. So I think I over-vegged and also just got busy with work and life. So part of the reason I talked about at the top of the show, maybe talking about resetting and starting over and starting fresh and not having everything be as fresh as it is that first run. A little bit of reamendment, a little bit of disinfecting, vacuuming, and cleaning off equipment and things like that. Cannot be the most fun or the sexiest things to talk about in growing, but oftentimes I find they're what actually lead to us being successful in the long term if we are staying on top of those, if we have like an SOP or standard operating procedure that we follow to make sure we actually do a good job, or if we just kind of wing it and hope. I know I've seen some messier grows and I've seen some cleaner grows, and I'm probably somewhere in between. And I think the more that we can err on the side of cleaner, the better we can do at avoiding pest pathogens and all that stuff that people click away from whenever we start talking about IPM. Those are always our like least viewed episodes because nobody wants to hear it, unfortunately. But last week we talked a lot of growth stuff, and so people stuck around. So I'm gonna hopefully try and continue that again this week and keep talking grow, keep answering your questions live here, and maybe in the future I'll. What I've actually decided, if you want to have me answer a question and you're not able to show up live, email me or DM me, and I'll just copy and paste it into a little notes document, and then I'll read all those questions out on the next Q&A show, whenever that might be. So, and I'll give a little shout out to whoever it is. So if it's like at from the American one or at Jack Greenstock, or if you want to ask one of us in particular a question, then we're happy to answer that as well. Because I think a lot of the time, many of the people that are showing up live are experienced growers and don't necessarily have too many questions for their garden. I think some people, maybe when we get into like the scientific realm, and we're picking apart an article, they might have more questions or suggestions or feedback on stuff like that. Or when we're talking about a specific topic, maybe lighting or IPM or whatever it is, people have their feedback because I always see the chat rolling fast whenever we're talking about whatever we're talking about. So I love the input and the feedback. And but oftentimes it is just most of the time I'm seeing like a lot of cheers. Good to rewatch. Cheddar Bob was saying. But yeah, I like those episodes where we cover kind of a lot of stuff. And last week it was just myself, Spartan Grown, and Caveman, and I basically had 10 topics that I wanted to cover, and we just like went straight down the list and all kind of gave our feedback on them. And those can be some fun episodes and seem to be re-listened to. I think I saw 80% completion rate on the analytics there. Not that I look too much or care that much, to be honest, but it is good to see when there's like the green numbers and it's moving in the right direction. I'm like, people are at least the same amount or more are sticking around and still wanting to listen and hang out and learn about growing this amazing plant, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, the show at least.
Cheddar Bob was saying that he's watching Bubbleman's show earlier today, Hash Church. And on Hash Church, they were talking about that they were sharing really great data anyway about how lower THC gets you higher for longer than high THC does. So I'll have to go back and watch that and see that data because that's interesting stuff. That goes to show like the when you hear people say, "Oh, the weed back in the day got me higher." Well, maybe it was that lower THC got you higher for longer. Not necessarily higher with higher THC. Maybe it was lower THC and it had an effect to keep you higher for longer, like what they were showing in this show, according to Cheddar Bob.
What that would scream to me is that it's all of the other beautiful things, endocannabinoids, terpenes, flavonoids, esters, aldehydes, ketones, etc., that like are all those little blips on the radar when they say that there's hundreds of active chemicals within the cannabis plant, and even each variety has unique ratios of all those different hundreds of things that can be combined in there. When we got such a strong focus on THC, let's say like 40%, I'll put a high bar at 40% being like the maximum number of cannabinoids, esters, aldehydes, terpenes, because the rest of it, I think there has to be like fats, lipids, chlorophyll, water. Like usually 10% is active water. So even like in a dried bud. So considering that, if I'm given 40% for cannabinoids and other stuff, then that means there's only 50% of it for like the actual leaf material, the stem material, and the stalks and all that good stuff. So just from the testing that I've seen and stuff like that. But as we drive that THC number up, those other numbers seem to drop off. So like if you have like a 40% THC, you're gonna have like 1% or less terpenes, I would imagine in most cases. But if you have like a 16% THC Durban, you might have like 4 or 5, 6% terpenes, and you might have 1 or 2% esters and aldehydes and ketones and flavonoids that aren't necessarily on a even the best of the best dispensaries or medical shops just don't even know to test for all this different stuff or to present it or how to present it because we haven't, as an industry, come to a place where we've actually got a full handle on. Like we just figured out THCP a couple years ago, or not we, but
Well, the
some Italian
scheduling helps a
research team.
lot, right? So this new
That will
scheduling
help
is going to help.
a
We're going to get all
ton.
kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm already starting to see, floodgates are just starting to come out, but I'm already starting to see research on this, what you call like alternate science or whatever. But like they were just did, I just was reading an article about geranol, which is a terpene found in cannabis, and just that alone was very helpful with pain relief and specifically fibro relief. And so I thought that was interesting. And Geranol doesn't only come from cannabis, but that cannabis has that.
I think
So
it might be, is it like geraniol, maybe? Like the
yeah,
geranium?
yeah, it's like yeah. I'm sure I'm killing the
It's
pronunciation.
tough, man. Terpenes, I'm terrible. Like I was saying beta caryophyllene for a while. It's beta caryophyllene, but I mean, potato fucking potato at the end of the day. As long as we're close enough that people can kind of spell it or Google it if they
Yeah,
hear it and look it up, then to me that's at least close enough. And like you said, it's not just cannabis that has it. The thing that makes cannabis unique is the cannabinoids, hence the, cannabis cannabinoids. But like terpenes, like geranium or geraniol, whatever the heck it is, can be found in geraniums just like linalool can be found in lavender, just like citrus can have limonene, just like cannabis can. But it's just cool that cannabis also can produce them, and sometimes a large enough amount that is very noticeable. Like, I mean, think about like Agent Orange, for example. It literally
yeah.
smells more like oranges than it does cannabis, and there's a number of varieties that are kind of in that boat.
Yeah, and it just kind of shows you that, it's unique in that it can almost be tailored to, you know, a treatment. Each one's a different treatment. This one might be treating, you might be treating one ailment with a citrus one, maybe an uplifting kind of a thing when you're down. And then what's the classic lavender? It's the opposite. So you're trying to, calm down at the end of the day, and maybe you get something with high in linalool to help relax you at the end of the day. So just though having that knowledge instead of just blindly smoking things and just not having a clue is such it can make such a different experience. So just to have to educate yourself a little bit so you have an idea of what you're getting into can really help you. When you want to relax and you smell something and it's like, oof, that smells like, a bag of clementine oranges. I'm probably not going to smoke that if I'm trying to calm down. You know what I mean? So your nose can steer you in the right direction.
I've always said the nose knows, and once you start to build those associations, like Jack Herrers and Durbans and high limonene and pinene, rich strains for me are typically daytime use only, or like morning to early afternoon, and then later in the evening, a lot of the stuff that you talked about at the top, like gas. Although I will smoke gas in the morning if I'm having like pain, and get a little bit strain tolerant, so I can just handle the otherwise kind of couch locky indica-y type effects that it can come along with. Most of the time, I'll just save them for afternoons and evenings because your nose, it's just a dead giveaway. Like once you start to associate, I think we're gonna be like the Golden Tarp Awards at a certain point where it's like gonna be like earthy, fruity, sour, gas, and they're gonna start breaking stuff down instead of indica sativa. It's gonna be like these are like the fruits, and within the fruits you've got the citrus, you got the strawberry, you got the,
I would love to see.
blackberry.
I would love to see top three cannabinoids, top three terpenes. I don't even care about the fucking percentages, really. I mean, I'd love to see those too, but don't even show me the fucking numbers. Just say these are the top three cannabinoids. These are the top three terpenes. That tells me fucking way more than just the THC percentage. You know?
Yeah, like 26% THC and 0.08 CBD or something like that. Like a lot of the
Yeah.
things that just literally give THC CBD. But I will say, Jeffro 42069 said the old carpentry workers used to love one-to-one flower during work hours. He said they got more shit done on the shift faster, no brain fog. And I've seen a lot of people that like one-to-ones for a variety of reasons, just for managing anxiety, not having as much of a like people that are like, oh, I can't smoke this new weed. It's too, strong or whatever. A lot of the one-to-ones or even higher CBD ratios tend to do really well for those people, or even just like any amount. Like it could be a 3-part THC to 1-part CBD, but even
And if you're
just
not
that little
getting
bit of
any
CBD.
CBD in your diet or in, any way into your body, and that's that might be just like you're filling a hole there, getting some CBD as well. So that whole therapeutic benefit there too is like you're getting some CBD in your system on top of it, which is that whole entourage effect when you start adding extra compounds together that work synergistically together.
It is amazing, but I always fall back on the cannabis because I realize that there's only so many things that have a full system, right? Like our endocrine system and these different systems. And you got the endocannabinoid system, and it's like there's not a lot of endocannabinoid system level things in the human body. So I feel like it's such a mainstay and important thing. I think all humans, like the fact that only 10 to 20% of like I'll use the US as an example, are using cannabis, to me, I think is a potentially long-term health risk for maybe all people. Like if we are to come to find out when Schedule 3 is unrolled and they do all the studies and testing and find out by depleting yourself or being deficient in endocannabinoids, you can be exposed to a number of neurological disorders or mental health conditions, or even just higher pain and inflammation, which leads to higher levels of cancers and things like that. Or even just reductions in cancers or preventions of cancers. The stuff that I do think we're going to, most of us probably already believe some of that stuff is to be true, but we'll be happy to see when the data comes around with big large, long-term double-blind studies and stuff like that. But I'm not going to wait for that by any means. And I know a lot of people in the chat are also very confident in their use for a variety of different things. And from like the Granny Storm Crows list to even now more legitimate, there's tons and tons of research coming online. So it's the accessibility I think is also powerful because for a long time this stuff was out there, but like only, Dr. Meshulam or whoever like knew what THC was in the 70s or whatever. And like maybe there was some understanding of it earlier, but it wasn't necessarily synthesized and this and that. But I don't know, I'm optimistic. We just got a good ruling for firearms owners and cannabis users. Um, the case itself is actually really um, I'll say a little bit problematic. There was like some terrorism stuff, and the guy was like being accused or investigated for terrorism, and it ended up being like he had cocaine and cannabis and guns, and it's like, yeah, I use cannabis like every other day, and like they tried to charge him for it because it's a federally banned substance, and on firearms forms it says like, are you a unlawful user of federally banned or illegal drugs or whatever, and he probably had to lie to procure said firearm, and that's like a 10-year charge. I think Hunter Biden famously went through, and not to be political, but it was just like a big, well-known case of that very same thing. Kodak Black also famously was charged with that, and FPS Russia, another guy had hash, and he got busted, I think, for distributing cannabis and having firearms around. And a lot of people, unfortunately, if you look at the Last Prisoner Project, tons of the people that got locked up, it was because they had a firearm in their car. And that was like the thing that pushed everything over. It's like, oh, okay, like we would have been slap on the wrist, but there's a firearm, so now it's going to be a violence enhancement or a gang enhancement or a federal charge because it's illegally cannabis with firearms or whatever. So that can be like a 10 to 15 year sentence. So it's real serious shit, and I'm happy to see this actually isn't the first time. It's happened in Maine, it's happened in Michigan, it's happened in Oklahoma. So several of these cases have gone to the Supreme Court, and since the Bruen decision in New York, um, there's basically saying there's no text history or tradition of banning people for using cannabis and taking away their Second Amendment right, which I think is kind of interesting and good because it'd be like saying you can't vote because you're a cannabis user. Like, where does it stop? If you say you can't have your Second Amendment because you're a cannabis user, and they were trying to compare it to historical allegations or like comparisons to drunk people who were so drunk that they needed somebody else to like take over their estate. Like they're like dying of drunkenness, like could not hold a job, like were being locked up all the time for it. Like those were the people that had their rights taken away. And even then, it was only temporarily. It wasn't like the person who had a drink after work and was just a recreational alcohol user. And it only counted for while they were intoxicated. Like, even those really crazy, overly intoxicated people, if they got their act together and sobered up for a day or a week, they were then restored their rights. So I know a lot of people don't like to talk about that kind of stuff, and I understand why. It's a predominantly peaceful community. I think a lot of people see it as an unpeaceful thing to talk about in terms of firearms or whatever. But a lot of peaceful people own them for wanting to defend themselves and their families, etc. But the fact that you don't necessarily have to worry as much about having your rights taken away. I mean, 10 years in prison, federal prison, mind you, is a very serious thing. And so for anybody out there who's in that situation, I know there's some people that have publicly posted, like Cannabis, Best Buyers, and Aaron the Grower at times have posted photos of himself with firearms and stuff like that. And being a cannabis user, that kind of unfortunately makes you a little bit of a target. And I think it's bold, and for everybody out there who's been able to do that and share that, props out
And
and hats off to them.
and you have to remember that everybody's situation is different. A lot of people don't consider that there's still lots of places in the United States where you want to have a firearm on you if you're walking around. And I'm not talking about in cities. I'm talking about in urban environments where there's animals that will literally eat you.
My brother,
I mean,
my
Jesus
brother lives in
Christ, we got
Ohio, #1 Bear County.
yeah,
They have the
so we
most
got
black bear
bear
sightings
up
of
here.
anywhere.
We got, cougar. There's
He
some
saw a
shit that
bear
will
taking out the
fuck you
trash the
up.
other day.
Lots of coyote, some wolves. I mean, there's lots of shit that can fuck you up. Deer can fuck you up.
Oh
That's a
yeah.
lot of shit. It's a good idea to have a firearm, I think, for. So, to be able to take that away from people is insane to me for their medicine. That's insane. It's like, oh, yeah, you can have your medicine, but you can't defend yourself. You have to walk around in fear. It's silly. It's just silly.
Especially considering some of these places are targets of like, hardened criminals and criminal enterprises, like especially in California where they were like forced to list their addresses. I don't know if that's still the case, but like the DCC, you could go on and look up every single license and what address they're at. So even if it was like a manufacturing facility that wasn't open to the public, it's online. Somebody could go, steal you know, oftentimes it was construction equipment, but large trucks or vans and stuff, and they would just slam them through the front windows and drive in, steal as much as they can, as quick as they can, and get the hell out of there. And they're covered up head to toe in unrecognizable clothing and masks and shit like that. So, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people got taken advantage of, and 24-hour security is expensive, especially armed security that's responsible and knows what they're doing and legally ethical, moral, all that stuff. So it's a big win, and I got a lot of people talking about it throughout the last few weeks I've seen, and this just solidified that case. And I think a lot of people are probably happy to see that, even if they're not a cannabis user or firearm owner, if they're just a fan of kind of the freedoms of the United States. Right now, like the World Cup is going on, and there's a lot of really kind of fun and positive, wholesome videos. I would say like there's a couple guys I'm following from Japan. One's called Bob, and he's just like traveling the US, trying to go to like the Japanese World Cup games and like trying like Texas barbecue and trying all this stuff for the first time and like having his mind blown. And it's been pretty fun. And there's another account I follow. This guy is like from the UK, and him and his wife are just traveling around the US. They just went back to the UK, and he's like, I'm so sad. Like I want to go back to America. Like all I can do here is go to the pub and talk about football or whatever. And he's like, in America, there's so much. Not to shit on the UK. I know there's probably a lot more to do than just that, but these videos are kind of interesting and funny to watch because I think for a long time we were the joke, the butt of the joke. We were the short end of the stick a lot of the time, or at least people loved to hate on us. And I think at least in a little ways, it's coming around, and people that come and visit and see it for themselves are learning that although politics aside and all that other bullshit, the actual people here, the businesses, the restaurants, the culture and the stuff, I think is there's a lot of amazing people and things to see. So I'll just leave it at that and say I'm glad to see that kind of spreading and just general any positive shit online on the internet that's like a cultural phenomenons that are not built around negativity, hate, and death and destruction. It's actually really nice to see just like wholesome like people come together around sports like soccer or even fighting in certain circumstances. Like some people like to watch it. So big events have happened and a lot of people enjoy them. Some people don't, but at the end of the day, we're talking about growing. So I'll try and get back to that. I'm not seeing too many growing questions in the chat. See somebody saying doobies in my holster. Pew pew. Cheers, y'all. Shout out to you. I like that. Keeping the doobies on deck. I have been that guy. My wife and I often have lots of it. And there was a one particular event that we launched a brand with, and so we had like these 7 packs of pre-rolls in these little tins, and I just had so many of them. Like there was way too many, like not enough people came to this earlier part of the event where they were kind of giving them out. So I had like more than I could even fit in my pockets. And every few seconds of this show, I was just lighting up joints. But anybody who like looked like they wanted one, I would just pass it to them or just hand them a whole pack of 7 and just like, the doobie fairy, handing them out left and right. That's the way to world peace right there. Get everybody smoking and toking and feeling good.
That's how you become a popular guy quick.
The little circle did start forming really quickly around us, and they're like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, yes, take it, take it. But it is a great position to be able to be in, to be generous with people with cannabis.
Cannabis and music events always go very well together. Always noticed that.
Oh,
This
definitely. Live concerts are great.
This one was fun because it was at like San Diego's, I think it's called like the Music Box or House of Blues, maybe. I think it was at House of Blues. It's like a little 3-story, kind of small-ish venue. And it was like a Revolution show that Modest Yahoo was the opener. And before that, there was a band called Sideways. But I wasn't familiar with Sideways, but they were pretty good. But I knew Modest Yahoo. He was fucking beatboxing and shit, and it was awesome. And then Revolution came on, and they absolutely fucking killed it. So it was a great time. And probably just like I said, a couple hundred people, like a private event, and it was a great time. I just love music, love cannabis, and seen lots and lots of events like that. I wish I had more time to attend a lot of these things because I see them honestly more often than I even
Yeah.
hear about them. There's so many
I love
that
the
by the
little
time I hear
small
about them,
events to where you have a chance of meeting, like getting up and talking to the artist. That's because that's where I'm always like, here's some weed, try some of this.
and you never know what you might get in return. We got Collie Buds vinyls and T-shirts. Shout out to Collie Buds. Hooked them up at one of the events. They're fucking cool as shit.
Oh yeah.
Uh, There's some really cool people, man. Yeah, Revolution's cool as shit too. They hung out at our booth one of the times. Their bassist, Marley, is fucking chill as shit.
Nice.
Um, I will say as much as I love them, they're a little hard to be around in the event spaces. The Marley family, I guess they only want their own photographers. They only want their own people. They're like very exclusive with who has access to them. So
I can
even at the
understand that.
small-ish events, it can be a little
They're
bit
their own
tough.
label, so that's their everything. That's their well-being. So I can
And I don't
understand.
blame them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the artist. Sure. You guys are familiar? You guys know who Pato Banton is?
Hell yeah, man. You told me a
Dude, I hung
story.
out with him a couple times. He's just like, I saw him at Red Rocks in Colorado. And yeah, if you guys enjoy music and concert and outdoor venues, that place is the best one I've ever been to, dude. It's an experience. But anyway, yeah, he after the show, he had a table and he was like, anybody wants to come say hello to me? He hung out where I was, but I hung out with him before that. It's a big long story, but he's definitely like down to earth, normal dude, cool guy.
You told me, I think, like once he didn't get paid at a show, and
Yeah, it
basically
was
he's
high
like, "Well,
times.
if I'm not paid, then I'm not gonna go on." So you just like picked him up and like drove around the town with him,
There
fucking
was a high
smoking.
times event. I went to the high times event and I was like asking like, what time is Pato Bantan going to be on stage? And they're like, well, you actually don't have a ride for him. I'm like, I'll go get him. So I drove into the city. It was in Brooklyn. The concert thing was in Brooklyn. He was in Manhattan proper. So I had to go to Manhattan, pick him up. And yeah, when we got there, they didn't have the money to pay him. He's like, well, I'm not going to go on stage then. So, and that was High Times. High Times is like, they're I forget the word, but they're known for that kind of underhand shit. That's why I was like, yeah, I know other artists too who didn't get paid proper from them as well. But Now it's under different management. So,
Yep.
and even different again, right? Didn't the Marlies have it, and now does the Raw guy have it now?
Yeah, Josh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So
He bought it. He's trying to resurrect it. I think
yeah,
it failed once. Maybe it'll fail again. I think if anybody's gonna have success with it, it might be him.
yeah.
However, the reputational damage might be done already with the all the different people with all the different bad experiences from cups and things like that. I think it was really cool for a long time. I definitely grew up reading it and
Yeah,
enjoyed a lot of it for a long time, but it fell off really hard, post 2000s or 2010s.
Yeah.
I really like Cannabis Culture better. The Canadian one, but
That was a good magazine.
yeah, that was good too. And now Skunk's still going. There was some drama I saw online. I don't know, I forget with who or what, but
I think Skunk's
The
still going.
management was I think they were screwing people. I think Brandon and
something
Matthew were
happened.
working with them for a little bit. And I
Yeah, I
think
think they were.
maybe they stopped working with them probably because it wasn't the best of arrangements, I'd imagine. Because I would imagine I'll just say this, especially since we've seen like some of that drama unfolding. Um, I know it's not on the Brandon or Matthew Gates side. They're very upright, honest, hardworking individuals who are not gonna fuck people over or let their name or reputation kind of get slide on doing shady shit like that. So I would guess it's on the skunk side, on that side for things. But people try, and just because
It
they
happens.
started it doesn't mean it's gonna succeed always. And even with good intentions, sometimes stuff falls apart. But I will say the American one, it looks like speaking of more positive Skunk Ape Glassworks
Oh, yeah.
9564 said, "Yo, what's good, brother? We got to start on some prep work on your Sherlock. I'll send you something to check out when I get a little more prep done." Or more to prep done. So it looks like you've got a little bit of a custom Sherlock glass in the
That's
works.
what I'm trying. Yeah, yeah. So I always enjoy that look, the Sherlock look. But like when you go to put it down on the table, I have a pet peeve with any kind of piece that I can smoke out of. I hate when the mouthpiece, like if you put it on the table, the mouthpiece will hit the table, you know what I mean, or anything like that. Like, yeah, you don't need your mouthpiece touching anything but the air and your lips. So I was like, yeah, I guess I could talk
You want
about it.
one
I
with like
don't
a
know.
kickstand.
Yes, exactly. A kickstand or maybe a flattened on the bottom so it could stand on its own. So yeah, that was
Or
my
or
idea.
a big curve at the end. So at the end it
Right, so
curves
it
up.
comes up again. There you go. That could do
Yeah.
it. But like, yeah, it has to lay down kind of, you know. But they have the holders too. Like when I was trying to find a picture to send
That's
to
what
show
you need.
somebody.
That's what you need. You need a Sherlock, but the end of it is a fucking dragon, and he's got a big neck in the shape of an S, and that's what you're hitting out of. But he's got two little feet at the bottom. They're like a tripod, so when it
There
sits
you go.
down,
That's we talked
the
about.
dragon's looking
Yeah,
at you. Oh,
like
that's
a
what you need.
kickstand, or there you go. You should be designers for it, and that sounds really cool.
It'll only cost you $3,000.
Right. But
I'm
yeah,
always
you
really
know,
impressed by some of the custom glass though. Like there's some people that make the fucking glass like helmets that you can like take dabs out of and shit. I'm like, oh my God, like I would be scared. Or like going back to guns, like they have like a gun that like the
mhm.
bubbles all the way through, and like there's all sorts of different going to the dragons and elves and all sorts of like cartoon characters. Like
Freaking
anything you can fucking imagine can be made out of glass.
intricate works of art that you could smoke out of. Like, yeah, I never wanted like someone would be like, "Here, take a hit out of this. This is my $15,000 dab rig." No, thank you, dude. I'm not going anywhere near that because my butterfingers will have that thing on the floor in a million pieces, and I don't want to be responsible. I'd never do that. But yeah, I just bought a $14 pipe. I forgot mine at the house. Yeah, so my garden isn't happy right now. Actually, I only got one plant, and it is happy. But remember, I showed you that last one that I did. I had three plants. It went down to one. I mean, to two. Then basically two and a half, one and a half. But I'm been hitting on that. Smoked the joint this morning. I was feeling groovy. Has no chocolate taste yet, and I got plenty of it to let it sit and see what happens. But yeah, it was good to have some fresh, good nugs to smoke that didn't come from somebody else. I really hate smoking, even if it's
Well, fresh is better. I mean, I don't
and
care.
yeah,
Everybody says
Homegrown,
fucking
I'll
here
take
here
homegrown over anything
yeah,
as long as
and
it's like
everybody says, oh, I got the fucking 2 month cure. Fuck that. Fresh is
I think so too.
99% of the time the best.
I think so too. But
Like,
there hasn't been a lot that I let sit for a year. just because of many
The best
reasons.
Yeah.
stuff
But
gets smoked right away,
right,
you know.
right. And
We
the
like it
one
too
that
much. We can't help ourselves.
I have to admit, though, that one that I did have in the job for like a year because it sucked, got way better after a fucking year.
I bet you,
Uh,
did it get make you drowsy? Did it seem like it
Not
converted
even
well?
that. No, there
No?
wasn't
Okay.
overpowering, yeah, that tiring or anything like that. There was something else I was about to get out. I forget what it. Oh, yeah, I don't have like other people that are growing around me here that I know of anyway. So it was either dispensary weed or mine, and I'd always pick mine over dispensary. But like if Spartan or Jack were gonna offer me some, I'd be happy and I'd be very happy to try it. But that's what it's not. I'm not saying that if it was somebody else's, I wouldn't want it. Just it would have to be someone like Spartan or Jack that I would want it from. Yeah.
A home grower who cares, you know, like somebody who you can taste the
Yes.
love. Just like when at
Shout
least in
out
like
to Seed Person One who allegedly might have hooked me up once or twice, and a couple other people as well. So yeah.
I always love a sample. I always love writing up little reviews for people because if somebody cares enough to gift me some cannabis, I'm going to go out of my way to write you the most detailed review you've probably ever gotten because I've got the nose and the experience. Fuck it, why not? A little bit of time, I'm going to smoke it anyway. I'm going to have it in my own mind. I might transfer it to somebody else, right? It's like, and I'll oftentimes like see them write in their Instagram posts like, picking up notes of stuff that I mentioned smelling in their bud. Like, and we'll even talk back and forth. They're like, "Oh man, I never noticed that, or I didn't put it on that specific thing." Like, "Oh, I always smelled kind of fruity, but I didn't realize it was orange, or I didn't realize it was that particular citrus or whatever, mango or grapefruit or whatever." You know, it's like I just I realize from any industry, whether it's like craft food or craft wine or craft beer or craft fucking cannabis, it's just like there's so much joy to be had in the different flavors. And I personally have really dived deep into that over the last several years. And I think it's
Well,
very
one thing
obvious.
about that, I wish I was better at it, honestly, but the one thing about that is it's not something you can fake. It's not something you can come in the first day you smoke cannabis and can start picking those out. You have to have that experience of smoking in all these different strains, and then you can be able to pick out these. It didn't come to me the first fucking time I smoked. No way. The first fucking year of smoking, I wasn't even fucking picking up. I can remember like first time it was like a clementine or some shit like that. And it was orangey, smoking that. I was like, whoa, okay, I smoke orange. That was my first, big one I saw that was different than just weed. And so don't be discouraged if you're a new smoker and you're like, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're talking all these flavors. Just keep at it. You're gonna start picking it out, especially if you're growing your own and you got good quality cannabis.
Yeah, I was gonna say some people probably don't have access to the different flavors, maybe too.
I was gonna say some people, I think, inexperienced or non-smokers. When I was visiting my grandmother-in-law for her 80th birthday, I think aunt or cousin on my wife's side was saying everything to them smells like a skunk's ass or skunk spray. And like people that don't smoke weed, like all weed, whether it's blueberry or tangy or OG Kush or Chem Dog, to them smells like skunk spray or like really skunky or just like noxious and like chemically in a way that's like off-putting, and they just call it skunky because they don't want to even like think about it. You know, they just hate it so much. It's like it's that thing that I don't like. Weed smells like weed. Oh, that's a beautiful little pipe there, Spartan. I was trying to hold one up. It's not even really
So
an
you were
expensive
holding yours
one.
up earlier, yeah, but like it
It's
just
got all these little beads and stuff in there, and they have like
honestly like that because it gives you something to like hold on to if it starts slipping, you can
yep,
catch it with your fingers.
and
So
they
I
act as
don't
a
mind
heat
the little
sink.
knobs. Yeah, this was Skunk Ape. He was talking in chat, and I just saw it on the desk, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna hold that up."
Shout out Skunk Ape.
Nice.
He's about to do a
Yeah.
piece for Tao. But yeah, even like on my bong bowl, you see these like little nubs on the side, those little like bump outs. It is nice because you don't burn your hand because that little nub doesn't get hot. It's like a separate part of glass. And however they put it together.
Oh, are we showing bowls now? I gotta shout out. Emily got me an early birthday present. I've been following this company for a while. It's called Bowls, Bowlz, but it's magnet and see how it's split? I don't know if you can see. So it comes apart.
Yeah, I saw that one
Well,
on
I've
online.
seen
Yeah,
those
Spartan.
advertised.
Easy
so
to clean. You can
so
clean it out crazy good.
so
Yeah.
easy to
It
clean,
looks
dude.
so clean, dude. Like I'm
So
looking at it
easy
and
to
mine is
clean.
all dirty right now. So I'm like, I Q-tip
Yeah,
out as
you
much as
can
I
literally
can.
just take a cup. You could just smoke a couple bowls and pull it apart.
Apart and clean
It
it straight
just
away. Yeah.
fucking cleans up so easy. You take an alcohol swab or something, boom. Get like 2,000 alcohol swabs at Sam's Club for like, I don't know, $4 or $5.
There's nothing worse than a dirty smoking device, man.
I miss Sam's Club, and I agree. I try to at
There
least
is something
weekly.
worse than a dirty smoking device. That's a broken smoking device.
You got me there, Spartan.
Unusable, yeah, broken to the point that it can't be used. I've even smoked broken ones at certain points that were like still functional. Like it was like a Zong with like a ice catcher or something, or like a perk that like broke on the inside, but it was still functional enough that we were able to. This is in my middle and high school days when it was difficult. You get kicked out of the fucking smoke shops for calling stuff a bong back then. I remember one time my brother, I sent him in with like I was, maybe like 60 or $80. It was not a lot of cash for a glass piece, but he came out with this bong and like it was all, wrapped in bubble wrap and like bagged up and like we drive down the road or whatever and like I pull it out and it was fucking black. Could not see through it. And it had like these like kind of smoky decals and he was like admittedly at the time a non-smoker and I was bummed at first, but then it got the nickname Venom because it like in Spider-Man, like the guy, like the dark version of Spider-Man that's kind of like more ripped and muscular. We joked that it hit hard as fuck and it was super strong because you couldn't see the smoke, so it would like surprise you. And man, it was a nice like at least however thick glass, it was well constructed and the bowl functioned properly. I just forever since that one have loved bongs. I think sadly, it met the demise of like my parents caught us smoking, and my mom like instead of throwing it out in like the garbage because she thought we would maybe grab it or it would be found by the garbage people or neighbors or something, she
Okay.
drove up on the freeway and fucking threw it into a median. Like at 70 miles an hour, like it smashes in the middle of like a concrete median in between the highway. It's
Dude,
like,
that's awesome. My
Oh
mom
my
found me. She
God.
did the kabong right in my room. Like Al Capone. She actually smashed it right on the floor.
Oh
Oh
my God,
uh,
man.
that'd make the floor smell terrible.
Oh,
that had to be
dude,
a
yeah,
rough
that was
cleanup,
not
dude.
good. I don't think it broke, but yeah, it wasn't a good scene at all.
She tried to break it.
Yeah.
I bet you that pissed her off even more royally. She went to smash it and it just bounced. It's like thunk. What the hell are you doing in my house?
Yeah, see, that's like a sin. How many relationships got ruined because weed was illegal when it never should have been?
Too many. That's for
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
Going back to Spartan saying, I think you said one of your first flavors. I don't know if you said it was tangy or something else, but it was blueberry for me that didn't taste like weed for the first time. We
Yeah.
actually got some real blueberry, and I was like, oh, like this doesn't. And for me, before that, it was kind of skunky and gassy and funky, earthy maybe, but you didn't have like strawberry cough was another early one. That was the second one that I had that actually had a flavor. I had White Widow before either of those with like a name on it, but that to me tasted like hash. It was like one of those. It actually was white. It was the first like frosted out bud I'd ever seen. I was used to seeing green bud or yellow bud or brown bud. So to see a
What
white
about
fucking
Durban
bud,
though? What about Durban though? That was definitely licorice, man.
oh yeah. That one was, to be honest, I found that more when I came to California. We didn't get good Durban or really any Durban in Ohio. If I got it, it wasn't like labeled that. It was just like, hey, I got weed. I got $20. Okay. Here's a dub, whatever it was, or 10 sack, back in the struggle times. But Durban
We
and
were
all
right.
of the other like country varieties, Mexican, Colombian, Thai, etc. Those admittedly were some of them before my era of when I was smoking, like when that stuff was being imported on a heavier clip. But some of it was still around and Mexican never stopped, right? It just continued to be there's still Mexican brick out there, shockingly. Like Scotty on Dude Grows pulled some out a couple years ago and showed it on his stream. So it still
Yeah,
exists. I still
how
know
long
people.
did he get it recently, or did he have it in his drawer since 1980?
I think someone gifted it to him, but I know people in like Arizona that tell
Can you
me
get
I
it?
get
You get
DMs all
it?
the time that there's brick still out there. And I'm never like trying to acquire it because the people that you have to deal with unfortunately. But
Questionable. Yeah. You
it
know what?
is
I've
also the
only
quality. It's so bad.
police departments have problems with their evidence rooms. There's too much in them. I want to get that stale ass shitty. That brickweed might have some good seeds that we don't know, that haven't been around or whatever. I'm a believer, dude. Because when I started, if there was good regular weed, that's the seeds that I would use. If it was better than the rest of it, and there was definitely some that when you grew that shit out fresh, it was pretty damn incredible, man. That I got bag seed, and it was really like nothing like what you got in the bag after you grew it yourself. It was leaps and bounds. It was like today's weed. I
Yeah,
remember
it's modern.
explicitly chopping it up once, cutting off nugs, and this is like I didn't have a pound box or I didn't even know about dry sift at the time. And on the table, what was it? I don't know if it was a table. Anyway, there was a layer of resin just after we weighed it out and shit. There was a layer of resin on the fucking table. And yeah, dude, like that was the number 15 plane. I still remember it. It was rock hard circle nugs with like, yeah, resin, small resin heads, but a lot of them. And the shit was killer.
It's amazing. I think that if we went back to the 70s, 60s, 50s, even earlier, if they were harvesting at the same time as we are, and if they were, drying similarly, I would imagine if the stuff didn't have to go through a shipment process, like the
Right.
reason that Mexican stuff is so
Bricked.
bad is because it's bricked and it's shipped and it's stored in like hot houses that don't have air conditioning. It's just sitting in a closet until, you know, someone shows up that week for their 10-pound load and they pick up, 2, 3 bricks or whatever, or bales or however the hell they have it stored and weighed out. Um, like it's amazing I guess because it can be grown outdoor at such scale and before it was legal, it makes sense that if you grow a giant ass field of it in Mexico and you have to dry it, fucking put it somewhere and make it somewhat shelf stable in a semi acceptable way, they could get some, it was in like a commodities market. I would compare it to like um the more higher yielding, like there's a coffee called Robusta and it's a little bit more bitter and it yields better and it can be grown in more areas. Where Arabica is the kind of better flavor generally and yields a little bit worse and can only be grown in certain areas like the coffee belt. It does better at high altitudes and certain specific climates. And so the commercial stuff, like the Mexican brick, although, you know, it's not like people's favorite stuff to smoke, it met that just like a threshold, like it's going to be I don't know, $1 a gram or $3 a gram back whenever like my buddy used to sell it a quarter for a quarter. You'd get like 7 grams of it for 25 bucks. And I never wanted that because even when I was in like high school or middle school, I'd rather pay like $50 and get like an eighth that was like a good eighth, like a homegrown eighth from someone or like Cali bud that got smuggled in or like some Canadian bud that we got. Like the Beasters was like 35, 40, 45 an eighth or whatever, depending on who you were and what your connections were. And I would still rather get Beasters, which was oftentimes dry sifted before it was even sold to us or college kids in the US or whatever. But it still got me higher, or, reportedly would have, because I actually never smoked the Mexican brick. I was just like, all the paraquat fears and all the pesticides, I was just like, and some of the smells, like the rubber tire and like gasoline smells, I was thinking those were coming from like the import process and not from the plant. I didn't think that it
Some
was
of it
actually
might have
possible.
been. Some of it might have been. Yeah.
Likely. Because I've seen like I've watched enough border shows where they do like
Mm-hmm.
checkpoints and they bust people and like they'll
Yes.
pull shit out of
Yep.
tires, they'll pull shit
Mm-hmm.
out of gas tanks, they'll pull shit out of fucking little crazy nooks and crannies and you can just tell it's not an air conditioned truck, right? It's not coming in on like a
They tried the
perfect
shit out in the
preserved.
field in the sun. Like we would like dirt weed was the shit that was on the bottom of the pile on the ground. It tasted like dirt. That's what we thought. I don't know if that's the case or not.
Well, and it's funny because that's what I would have thought too, but now I've grown shit that tastes like
That
dirt
tastes
in
like
my
earth.
own
Yep. Yep.
perfectly sterilized room that I just cleaned. And I'm like, what
Yep.
the fuck? This one just tastes like dirt. Like it's not a good strain. Like at least for me, I don't like the dirt tasting
Right.
weed. So I
Dude, I
guess
grew out the Durban poison. I got seeds like it must have been the late 90s. And it's exactly like Spawn said, dude. It was straight up licorice. And it was definitely Durban poison because the shit was skinny and long and tall. But it made nugs and it had resin. It tasted like licorice, man. I was like, I didn't like it though, but I don't like licorice, black licorice.
I don't like
But
black licorice either. That
I
kind
would
of
love to
anise.
try. I wish I had them seeds again. I would love to try it again. You know?
I've had some Durban that leans more in the terpinolene side. Like I get the anise or anise, but
Right.
I've also had some that was really high terpinolene and limonene and pinene.
I only have
Um,
one female out of that batch.
It's interesting because we have people from Durban that listen to the show, like people that listeners in South Africa in the Durban area, like actually in Durban, like that have like reached out and been like, yeah, like we love it here. It's still grown here a lot. Like they'll send me pictures of like, fuck yeah, dude. It makes me so fucking happy to see that. And shout out to Breeder Steve. If you're not following his YouTube, go follow him because I just listened to and it came out a while
Yeah.
back, but he did a interview with Ed Rosenthal, and I actually really enjoyed listening to that. And yeah, just shout out Breeder Steve. If you're not following him, make sure to fucking go follow. He's been on our show within the past couple months,
Such a
and
good guy. Steve,
man,
Breeder Steve is awesome, man.
it's hard to like get tired of listening to that guy because he's just so bright, well spoken,
He sounds like a teddy
chill.
bear, dude. He sounds like you're talking to a teddy bear. He's like, do, 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 do. I
He like
fucking love the
embodies
guy.
that like nice Canadian guy
Yeah.
aspect really well, and like he just genuinely lives it. Like I think people that like, in his case, I don't think he's got a whole lot to prove to people. He's just like telling people about what he's doing. People are genuinely interested. He's done shit at much bigger scale than he knows most people will probably ever do it. So he's happy to share his experiences, and I think he's one of those people that is like not on the scarcity mindset. There's abundance for him. Like there's so many grows out there.
Yeah.
You're not going to be in competition with him. He can give you all of his advice, and you're still not going to get hired in front of him.
Yeah, we talk to somebody and ask them about, hey, what kind of canopy space are you growing? And somebody like Steve starts talking in hectares. You're like,
Like,
okay, this this is a whole nother level. This is not even my, universe.
and it's just like country after country. He's done it in Switzerland. He's done it in Africa. He's done it in Thailand. He's done it all over the place. And just like he does it on his own personal home grows in Canada, his little pool bud, like, his four plants. And he just,
Yeah.
he's so in the weeds of it. Like he loves, he'll pull leaves off and cook in his breakfast with oil and fucking weed leaf. And found out that he can get super fucking high off even like the vegetative material, decarbing it, which I thought was entertaining because a guy like him, you've got to imagine, has some pretty decent tolerance and access to some of the best shit on the planet. So to be able to get high off stuff that a lot of people are just throwing away is good stuff to know. And I love that he shares that kind of info. And
Dude, I'll
more
never forget that microgreens guy when he tried this the raw marijuana. Said he was
juicing it.
high for hours and shit.
It's so
That was
funny, man.
Oh, growing with greens, John
Yeah,
Cole.
John
yeah,
Kohler.
that's the guy. Yeah,
Yeah, hell yeah. The
he's
dude has the
totally
most
cool.
energy. That tells me that there might be something to his juicing technique or whatever, because that dude has more energy than I've
Yes,
seen, and he's still to this day still same energy. I don't
dude.
know.
And the other story that I always thought was so awesome, the cops came to his house. He's like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, come on
the
in,
light.
let's check out this shit." It was
That's how I found his
all
page.
flower plants and all vegetables. So that was hilarious, dude.
That's
He's
literally what
totally
found,
cool.
like, I found Growing Your Greens because that video. It was like cops came to my
Yeah.
house to bust grow, but it was really a palm tree or something in his bathroom, and it had like a blurple light. And he's like, "Yeah, man, I just really love vegetables and plants, and like, come on in, check it out."
Gave him the tour.
Oh my
And
God.
he did interviews with the Boogie Brew guy.
He's done a bunch with him,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
also goes to cannabis farms where this dude
Yep.
grows like big
The
10
one
pound
guy
plus.
had the big, the big one, and he showed he dig a hole, then he line it with fence so that the gophers couldn't burrow in. So yeah, you could learn a lot from everywhere.
He's demonstrated stuff where like they're actually pulling down like 10 pounds or close to, or maybe even
Yeah,
more, 10 pounds of plant. And that's a big part environmental, right? Obviously, you're not going to do that in, the northern part of Canada, right? Because the weather is so brutal. People don't even live up there. I kind of saw a post that was funny. It's like, hey Canada, if you guys need houses so bad, then how come there's none in this area? And it was a big red circle, and it was like the Arctic Circle, and it showed like red blips where all the homes were, and it's like right along the U.S. border and like up, 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 and then like as soon as you get to the Arctic Circle, it's like barren. There's like little, blips here and there, and maybe some development or whatever, but it was just like one of those. It's easy to think that you understand the situation by looking at a diagram, but it's a lot more complicated than it's shown.
yeah. It's probably weather stations up in Buttonford because I know they have those everywhere.
Yeah, there's probably more than, but compared to like the development of like Toronto or Vancouver or BC or any of the areas that have cities and stuff like that, it pales in comparison. And I know even like Alaska, right? Our one of our largest states is one of our least densely populated and very difficult to survive. Just I've watched a number of shows, people up there um, trying to survive themselves, let alone growing plants. But lo and behold, people do it. I saw one guy like converted a bus, got solar set up, was growing vegetables for himself so he'd have fresh food throughout the winter. And I was like, man, this is basically just like a cannabis grow. Like
Jeff
they're
Lowenfeld was always gardening in Alaska. There's got to be some
yep.
areas that are conducive to it, right?
They are, and a lot of them are doing it indoor, admittedly. He was doing
Right.
like, seasonal like tomatoes and stuff during like the
Yeah.
summer or whatever, like short season crops. And there is certainly a time where you can get away with it, but it's not as easy as maybe, I don't know, even like Ohio, which gets hard winters, has a pretty beautiful growing season, spring, summer, and a relatively easy fall, depending on the year, because we've had snow come before Halloween some years in Ohio, where I was from. But some years it's beautiful in the fall,
For
all the way
me, it doesn't
through
snow
Halloween.
until after Thanksgiving. Yeah.
So it really depends on the year and where you're at. We had lake
Yeah.
effect, but like if you're right on the lake effect misses you. It like blows over for like the first like, I don't know, quarter mile or half mile or something like that. And then everybody else gets pounded like
The
directly.
snow, yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's like Buffalo. They get like feet at a time. My family lives
Mhm.
in an area that's kind of like that. Like my wife came the first year we were either dating or married. I can't remember. She came back to Ohio with me, and she'd never seen snowfall, being from Arizona, Tucson, and Phoenix. And then she moved
How
to
old is she?
Florida in her 20s.
Wow,
So
dude.
the coldest place she's ever lived, legitimately, is San Diego, because she's lived in Tucson, Phoenix, and Orlando area of Florida. So like everywhere else she's lived has been hotter. She's like, this is the coldest place I've ever lived. She's always bundled up when it's like
Dude,
below
I went
70.
I went to college in Oswego, and the lake effect, you would walk from one building to the other, the wind, like if you're walking facing the wind, the front of your body would be white and the back of your body would have no snow in it whatsoever, dude. It was amazing. But yeah, that's a real thing. Lake effect is crazy.
It's just so weird, the different weather phenomena. Like a bunch of times when I was a kid, and my house wasn't even big. In the front yard, it would be sunny, and I'd be in the backyard and it'd be raining. And I'm like, how the
That's
fuck is
pretty
this possible?
crazy, dude. Yeah.
And like, granted, like, I lived at that house for 17 years and it probably only happened like 10 times. So, like, of the thousands of days and thousands of times it rained in Ohio, it was very, very rare that it happened like that. But it's just a demonstration of like how microclimates can exist. And even if you're on the same hill as the guy in Humboldt or whatever, or Mendo, your particular climate might not
Yeah,
be
elevation.
quite as ideal. And like the soil structures, like how
Yeah.
well is it draining naturally? How much did you have to build up? Like the Mendo Dope guys, they basically built their soil. It wasn't like they're using native soils. They dug big ass holes. And so did Green Shock Farms and a lot of these guys, like they developed that soil. It wasn't because Humboldt had fertile soils. They just
Right.
made
But
it
the environment, the weather is what makes the difference. You know what I was
long sunshine days.
I think I believe New York is going to emerge as one of the better places to cultivate, dude, because they have wine on the like where I live. They have wine that was getting actually like really good reviews, and on the North Fork of Long Island, they have farms like it's like redneck country. Like I didn't really know until I went to the well, it's a big long story, but there's some rednecks in on Long Island, dude, like true rednecks. And I didn't think there was until I went to the speed track. It's a long story, but yeah, I think especially if I don't know if it's true, like where they grow wine is good for growing weed, but I know they grow wine in California. I know it's not in Humboldt. I don't think it's like in Sonoma, and it's in a different area. But I think maybe all of California is a good place to grow, right?
Yeah, so the value depends on where you're growing it. The Central Valley is where most of the tonnage is grown in terms of like the mass production of wine, but that's what is like the $2 chucks of the world. If you go to like Trader Joe's and get
Oh,
those really cheap
okay.
wines, it's a California wine. For a while, because I'm pretty sure they didn't really protect like how like Champagne in France and other regions like were really strict about it. I'm pretty sure California actually wasn't the best about it. So you could have a bottling plant in Napa, and you could say Napa wine, and it could be Central Valley grapes. So they're getting these really cheap grapes by the ton, and then producing it in Napa and selling it as Napa wine. But for the most part, Sonoma and Napa are the two big
Yeah,
like craft
I think
what
we
people would hold
visited
highly.
Coppola Vineyards. Yeah,
Coppola is the Godfather director, and he
yeah, yeah.
actually is really like interesting. Like he won't even allow any gasoline powered vehicles. So all of his tractors and vehicles, like cars, have to be
Oh,
electric
horse. Oh, electric.
because he doesn't want any pollution
Dude, I
to
always
fuck with the
think about
grapes.
that when I'm driving past all these farms. I'm like, man, all this exhaust is going right in the first 10 feet of these corn crops. I wonder if like they throw out that first 10 feet of corn. I don't know, dude, but I wouldn't like I'm thinking roadside freaking
Brake dust,
marijuana. Yeah, you
gasoline,
don't
all
want to
the
be
micro
smoking
shit
that
in the
shit,
exhaust.
right? I would
I
think it
guarantee you it
definitely
gets
gets
funneled right in with the
absorbed.
rest of it.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought about that a whole bunch of times since I've been in my new Pennsylvania farm country.
All the more reason to, grow your own or get it locally at places that, I think they will actually go through and hand pick and maybe throw out some of the edges, or they plant far enough away from the street that there's a big grass patch that they're not necessarily
Yeah, that
developing
I
every
don't see
single.
anywhere, dude. Where I am at, it's right there. Like, if you break down, you can just pull a piece of corn right from the road,
Yeah, but a lot
basically.
of the corn you see growing is field corn
For
for the
horses,
animals.
yeah,
Yeah,
or cattle, livestock.
the sweet corn
And
is
ethanol.
usually within gunshot range of the house.
There you go.
I love Ohio. I call it Ohio sweet corn, but it's actually Georgia sweet corn that's grown in Ohio. And man, that white corn grown in Ohio has some very good fertile soils. The glaciers like scraped and left a bunch of deposits behind. So corn grows really well there, but like not just like the commercial feed corn, like the stuff that you want to eat. Like the Amish guys that sell it on the stands by the roadside, or even just the local people throughout the different cities of Ohio. We have a roadside stand we always go to, and I'm shocked at the price. It's always so fair. Like the amount that you can get is just like dumbfounding to me because admittedly where I'm at is like one of the most expensive areas in the country for food and rent and everything. Then I go to one of the more affordable areas and it is a really sticker shock in the opposite direction, but it's nice. Your dollar goes a lot further in those areas, which is a great thing.
Yeah, check out your local farmer market too. I've been noticing that the farmers markets, at least around here, are even accepting like the government help, like the food stamps.
EBT or food stamps.
Yeah, I was like, that's fucking cool. You can get actually good food, you know what I mean, from the farmer.
As it should be, honestly. I mean, it's
Yeah,
for food. Why should they be able to spend it on fast food or junk food? Like there was that song, Richmond, North of Richmond, and he said like something about milk and welfare with like Twinkies or whatever, and like the fact that you can get that kind of junky snack food with it. And I'm not trying to shit on people that are struggling. Obviously, I think it is important that people have access, and that's why I'm happy to hear that they have access to better shit. I want them to have access to all of the stuff that anybody would, and not have to feel like they're forced. Because there are food deserts. There are places that there's not a farmer's market to even go to, right? Some big cities and stuff like that oftentimes don't have it. You're at the will of what's imported, and if you can't necessarily afford the time or money to go and source some of that stuff, you're dealing with what's at your local budget place.
yeah. I would say it's better not to eat sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, and growing your own
Wow.
is
Why I'm
honestly,
so
even if you
skinny.
are on the lower end of the income spectrum, that's one of the best ways to save money is like cheap home grow.
Dude,
It's always been my family when they immigrated here from Italy were not well off. They were very, very, very poor, and they grew a lot of their own food from tomatoes to other things. They kept chickens, they butchered their own chickens, and so this was not unheard of by, immigrants of that time or now,
I
frankly.
know. Everyone I know on SNAP benefits, they ain't skinny. I mean, like, it's not like they're going hungry, but they're just not maybe healthy. But yeah, I'm jealous of people who have chickens. Nothing better than a fresh out the butt egg from a chicken, man. And it is different than the store bought. Yeah, way different.
I agree. I totally agree. I will say even the shittiest egg, and
Yeah,
I got a little high and mighty for a while. I was like, oh, I want like the Happy Egg brand because they have really orange yolks and they tasted really good to me. I did like a blind taste test and like I like them more than the Vital
yeah.
Farm or the other whatever. But if you can get them locally, I think that is the best for sure. And I get that even the Happy Egg is not like perfect, but like even the white egg from the cheapest budget egg at the grocery store is healthier than what
Probably
most
very healthy
people
for you. Yep.
are eating in America.
Dude, I found there's a dude on Instagram, bro. And that's all he ate for like a month, I think, was eggs. He was eating ridiculous amounts of them too, dude. And the motherfucker
Jesus.
felt like a brick shit house. I mean, he'd take down, yeah, he was just ripped.
They have a good balance of protein and other stuff that we need, fatty acids, amino acids, things like that. And they're relatively, I mean, in terms of calories per, uh, you know, cost, they're relatively affordable. Even when the prices go up,
Heck
I'd say
yeah,
like,
even when they're expensive, they're good. That's worth the money.
yeah, like I hate to say this, but like a buck an egg to me is not crazy to
I
think.
don't think it is
That's
either.
fucking crazy to me.
It's
Jesus Christ.
expensive, but in terms of like when
Yeah.
you think
But
about like
think
the
about
meal
it.
and like what you're eating, what you get from it, I feel like it's a val like I try to pay less than that, but at the
Of
same
course, but
time,
that,
Yeah.
I
I
don't
think
think
it's
that
I
were
pay
worth
they
way the
that
fuck less
expensive.
than that.
Were they expensive as that at one point? No, not $12 for 12. I hope not.
yeah, no, here they
They
were
were.
for
Oh
the
God
shit.
premium
damn.
shit.
Because I bought two hard boiled eggs at the Amish place for a buck 25 2 days ago.
I got a place that does local duck eggs and they're
Yep.
six
Someone was
bucks for
offering.
six. So
Now I never eat a
Those are
duck
way
egg
bigger. Big.
or a I was talking about a turkey egg one time. I wonder what they taste like. They only
Weird.
pop one a month, blah, blah, one a year. They were telling me like
what
you're not
about
allowed to turkey eggs.
Darth Messiah? Welcome in. It looks like we got a plant going on here. Let me zoom in so we can see this a little bit better. Spotlight for everyone.
No,
Can you turn your camera to the side maybe so we get a full screen?
Holy dude, that
This
thing's
looks
like
like a
a
bonsai.
bonsai.
I was talking about this last week on the show. I think you might be muted still. I don't know. Oh, that's a background. That's a backdrop. That's like a
Uh,
okay, you're maybe trying to not show yourself.
is that his head?
Let me
It looks
undo
like his
the
head.
thing and I'll go to
let me answer a question real quick from chat from a million years ago. But Suncraft D asked Spartan, any nutrients or amendments to the water part of the container? Oh, when I'm watering my sub containers, do I put anything in the water? I'll do maybe a microbe additive maybe once in a while, and 3 times in their life, usually actually mostly twice. They might get those additives from Brandon, the humics. So there's like a veg, there's a nitrogen or N-humate for veg. There's a complex for the flip, and then there's a K-humate for end of stretch. And so at those times, I might add those if I feel like the plant's going to need those nutrients. I'll put that in the water and then water it through, not the tube, but actually through the soil block. Same thing with I don't even use the tube hardly ever anymore. Honestly, I use that for air exchange and I just water through the soil block most of the time I water.
there's no real drawback, right? So I mean, I
Oh,
guess somebody could be like, "Oh, the nutrients are going to drain out," but then they get sucked right back up. So
right,
no
yeah.
loss.
It's kind of a closed loop.
Yeah, I've stopped using the shower cap system. I've just started using like a rice hull mulch. Um, and watering from the top is effectively the same as watering through the hole. It just depends on if you're really good about making sure that like it never runs dry, like as soon as it runs dry, you refill it, then I guess you could get away with not watering from the top. But I feel like watering from the top has a benefit as well. And to be honest, no matter what way you do it with Earthbox or Sips, they're gonna crush it. Like as long as you don't just let them go bone dry for like over a week, then you'll be fine. Because they're like
You might still be fine, even if you, if you let them go for a week. It's crazy how much water they hold.
yeah. And depending how big the plant is and how much light pressure is on them and air and stuff like that, but you can definitely get away with a lot more than you might in many other systems. I'll say that. So it's incredibly convenient. It looks like we lost our guest, Darth Messiah. If you want to rejoin us, you're more than welcome to. Hopefully, we'll get you back. It says I was in Zoom but didn't mean to join the live. LOL. It's all good. Well, hopefully you're having a good night over there, Darth Messiah, and hopefully everybody out there is having a good one. And I'm curious, Spartan, I saw you token a little earlier. You maybe sipping on what is usually a tea, even though it looks like a beer or something. Are you sipping on a tea with us tonight? And are you token with us tonight?
This is I don't know what this is. It was lemonade before this. This is something else. I'm not sure. I don't know, something electrolyte drink, but it's yeah, similar to a tea, I think. But token on earlier was some what was it? Some lemon pound cake. Lemon pound cake concentrate, which I don't know. And a concentrate, I don't know if it's just a concentrate because I haven't had the flour, but the concentrate, it's almost like too terpy where it's a little bit too potent. It's caustic almost to the back of the throat. So it's like that would be something that I would enjoy more if I would like split it half and half with something else to like
Balance
tone
it
it,
out.
yeah, tone it down a little bit and make it maybe smooth it out a little bit for the just the experience. It's not even a flavor. It's just like I guess the mouthfeel, I guess I'll say, of it. But other than that, it tastes lemony. It's great, and it's got like an uplifting high. The other stuff I have here is called Miami Vice, and that stuff is so like narcotic to me. It's like I can't even fucking begin to fuck with that for a few more hours. Otherwise, I'll be sleeping right here on the camera.
That's how cherry pie was for me for the longest time. It was like I'd smoke it and like 15, 30 minutes later, I was literally just like out. I'd fall asleep on the couch. Like it could be mid-morning, midday, it didn't matter. Like, it was this insta pass out, which was nice when you reserve it for the right time of day. Save it until
Yeah.
the very end of my day. And I hit that a couple times and just, it was like good night, restful sleep too, not like a little power nap and wake up and like, oh, what the fuck just happened? Like I've had some stuff that's like that. Banana split is one. Like it would get so high, dysfunctionally high, and then I would pass out, and then it'd be like a late evening because I'd reserve it for that time, but then I wouldn't sleep all the way through the night. I'd like wake
Huh.
up at like in a jolt, like as soon as I came down from it, like what the fuck's going on?
Dude, twice in my lifetime, because I come from like where it'll be dark at 6 o'clock in the morning and dark at 6 o'clock in the night. I get home from high school, I'd eat the whole thing of Oreos because all I did was smoke weed the whole day. Pass out, wake up, see it's 6 o'clock, and be like, oh shit, I got to get ready for school. Run downstairs to jump in the shower, and my family's at the dinner table eating. I'll be like, oh shit. That was the one time, and I forget what the other one was, but yeah, that's an issue when you get the really good weed. Or
Oh,
if you're
damn.
young and like, yeah, I was young and yeah, dude. I
Yeah, the sugar
really,
coma afterwards just erases your brain.
when I think about it, I really had the semi-charm kind of life. So I really shouldn't just be so miserable right now because the past 2 or 3 years have not been fun. But yeah, maybe, and that's why they haven't been fun because I was living the semi-charm life and now I'm not as much. But I'm
It's
gonna
ebbs
push
and
through
flows.
and I will get to the better, this fully charmed life is what I'm gonna hit. All right, enough of me.
Hey, you know what? I think
Doctor.
if we didn't have the lows, the highs wouldn't feel so sweet. And I've been in a place where I chase the highs in a hedonistic manner, and I would let you know it's not worth
Yeah,
trying to
I've
be
been
on the
there
high the
too.
whole time.
I've been there
It can
too.
be fun for a short time, but it definitely comes back around, and you ultimately realize there's more than just trying to feel happy and excited and fucking like at that peak all the fucking time. It's not sustainable. I think there's times for just chilling and learning to have just like times that are just neutral. Like I'm just fucking doing nothing, you know. But I want to do something that's not nothing, which is welcome in one of my favorite guests ever of all time, Raptor Grow. Cheers, Raptor.
What up, guys? Yeah, so I was open invitation and happy Father's Day to all the dads. No, you guys are saying that, but yeah, I wanted to give a special happy, all the ones that put in work. Fuck yeah. Uh, plant dads, dog dads, cat dads. You too. Take
Accidental dads.
yeah, accidental dads. Those
Oops.
are they still count as dads as long as
Your
they're
actual
putting
dad,
in
if they're
work.
still
Yeah, yeah,
here, my dad is no
yeah.
longer with me, and I will say if you still have them, if they're not like, you know, somebody that you have a terrible relationship with that you're never talking to again type situation. If you actually have like a decent or good or great relationship with them, reach out, fucking get in touch with them, say hello, because you never know how much longer you might be able to. Because sometimes it's freak accidents or uh, medical stuff, but it's not a guarantee. Every single day is a gift, is the way I look at it, and
Well,
we should all be thankful and grateful.
I
Yeah,
totally agree, and I just want to say I can never feel older, I don't think, than when I could tell my son Happy Father's Day.
Oh, happy Granddaddy's Day,
I was like,
Sparky.
oh man, I am old.
also, happy solstice. So,
Oh yeah, dude.
yeah,
Yeah, happy
happy
solstice,
solstice.
man.
Get those plants out. Get those girls out. I mean,
Dude, plants
maybe
are out.
a boy.
Plants
Yeah,
are
but
out.
yeah, good, good. Make sure everyone, if you got some extra clones, hey, a good little bumper crop.
Yeah,
You
right
never
now.
know. I had to take out. Oh my gosh, I have not had good outdoor luck. Some of it got taken out by budworm last year, so I'll make sure to be like inoculating with what is it Kostetsky guy?
BTK?
Yeah, like yeah, what
Yeah.
you were bringing up last week. And then the year
Stilus
before,
Genesis Kurstaki or something
yeah,
like that.
K. It's well, it's just K.
We
But
all
yeah,
know.
definitely, yeah. And then the season before that, it was we had fires super like half a mile from my house. So not smoking any of that. I didn't even
Yeah.
compost it because the things that are in there, I was like, I'm not gonna give this away. I'm not even gonna compost it. It's going out. Like I'm very rare to throw things out, but unless it's like plastic and I reduce as much as I can, but still, it's very rare for me to do that. It has to be like something like that extent, or it just got like full on something like fungal base or just covered in whatever. That I've only had that issue with like funguses, like powdery mildew and bud rot were my main things. Now I just hey, as much I have constant airflow. Don't have that issue anymore. Just
It's like
maybe hmm?
with your situation with the fires, when there's cars and buildings and stuff burning, there's like
Yeah,
plastics and oils and all sorts of shit in that smoke. It's not like not to say that a forest fire would be like acceptable. Like any
yeah.
levels of smoke from random open burning shit is gonna
It's
be
not just
bad.
carbon.
But yeah, it's a
Yeah,
whole lot worse than just the carbon. There's like
yeah.
tons and tons of chemicals in there that are, you know, it wouldn't even be worth sending for testing. So I think you made
No
the right
way.
call.
Yeah. Yeah. I just I saw it all happening and I looked outside my window and it was just black. I was like, that's done. Uh Even my indoor I was a little iffy. I still did my own indoor because I have filters and everything and I make sure to like close. I try to have my windows closed for obvious reasons during that time. But yeah, uh just be careful. That would be my main thing. To look out for is the budworm stuff, and then I had bud rot as well the first year because I just let it go a little too long. I was like, another week, another 2 weeks. Yeah, it's just like no, just call it at 8. Take a look at the scope. Shit's gonna happen. It's that red ripe apple right in the middle of your garden, like surrounded by like birds or whatever, squirrels. For us, it's we got a really bad squirrel issue in my backyard. They're totally almost took out my new avocado tree. So we it has sprouted up again. Took out like didn't take out the kumquat tree that I had, but it was suffering. So yeah, they're getting a little too comfortable. I'll have to. I
Sounds like you need
really
an
don't
outdoor
like
cat.
calling.
You need an
Yeah,
outdoor
we
cat.
actually. I'm very. We have a stray that comes around. I don't hear any chirping. The squirrels chirping. when she's around. I'm pretty sure it's just a stray girl, but I'm super nice to her. I'll leave water out for her and stuff. Yeah, I'm not too spay your cats, spay your animals, definitely. But if I see a stray animal, yeah, I'm gonna give it
Maybe
water.
feed it a
Yeah.
little bit. Maybe
My
Yeah, I've
little
been
bit of food.
considering like tuna cans, like going to PetSmart or Petco and get up a little fancy feast.
my
And
old
stick
neighborhood
around a
had a
little longer. Yeah.
My old neighborhood had a gopher issue, and one of the my friends who lives there has a Jindo dog who loves hunting gophers, and then there's a cat who loves hunting the gophers, and like you see the gopher piles now, but there's no gophers. They're all fucking gone. They exterminated them. Like it is just gopher piles and no gophers to be found because the cat and dog just went to town, like full on gopher extermination team. So I guess they
That's
are legitimate like IPM tools in that case. Like farms have used them for, I mean, centuries, right? Like since Egyptian times. Like I think the reason cats were domesticated was they helped deal with the rats while Egyptians
yeah.
were cultivating plants. So it
We
goes
had
back.
grains, like we humans. We
We
had
benefit.
grains. So what comes to eat the grains? The mice. What comes to looking for mice? Yeah. So they just kind of stuck around out of convenience. Less, I think it's called a certain kind of domestication because they're still a bit like wild. And their genetics are so much more diverse than dogs. Like they're much less bottlenecked.
Oh yeah, they're so
Uh,
much better able to handle being independent. Like they, you look at like these not Texas, African, like desert cats, and they're basically just like a house cat. Like the most deadly cat on the planet is like 6 pounds or something, and it's got like a 90% kill rate, hunts at night, and it looks just like a cute little house cat, and it just fucking pounces on shit. But they're very, very
Did it
effective.
kill a
Even
human?
no, this is like a
All
tiny.
right.
It kills like
Yeah.
mice and shit.
Dude, you know what I just realized? I think my cartoons lied to me. I've never seen a dog try and eat a cat in my life.
I've seen them like
I've seen them
bark and
barking at
snarl.
cats,
I've
but
had my buddy Baked Pone literally pull his cat out of my dog's mouth. I
were
don't know
you
if he was trying to
was he
eat
gonna
him, but he
kill
was
it?
in his mouth.
Is he trying to kill it?
He didn't kill him. We
No.
told him stop, and he just kind of, kind of just held him in his mouth and didn't bite down. But I mean, what would have happened if he
Who
did?
would have happened if he
No.
wasn't there? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So maybe I just haven't lived the life that I should have and saw what yeah, I haven't been around enough.
It's a dog eat dog world out there. You never know.
Like you were right. I seen the cats come up with the rats or the mice all the time in their mouth. But I never seen. I was like, yeah, I never seen a dog with a cat dead in its mouth, hanging there. But
My
I guess
first cat, its name was Tom because my brother who got it, the second he saw it, it was like Tom and Jerry. Like he just in his head, the cat's name was Tom. It happened to be a
there you
male, but
go.
he saw it and he screamed. He's like, Tom, and like grabbed it. And it kind of looked like Tom. This cat was an indoor outdoor cat, and our backyard had this particular tree that had like the first branch was maybe 15, uh, probably I'll say 15 feet at least, but maybe close to 20 feet high. And this fucking cat ran up across that branch, jumped into the air onto a flying bird, bit its neck, rode it down to the fucking ground, and killed it. Like, cats are so fucking savage, dude. It's crazy. Like the shit that they can do. It's the athleticism and ability to kill
Keeping a
is
snake too. I've seen videos of that, and I've seen one where it
swat
grabbed
them.
the bird from the ground, dude. A flying bird. It jumped up, grabbed it, and took it down from the ground. Yeah,
Dude, my
that is
friend,
pretty
I
cool
used to work
shit,
for
dude.
this delivery service, and their cat would sit on their patio, like next to a golf course, and it had like a waist high balcony, like it was like all stucco, and the cat would literally just like dunk them. It would like reach its hand up and grab the birds and just like slam them onto the thing, bring them into the house, and there's feathers fucking flying around and shit. Like they they're definitely more than prepared to take down birds or small rodents if they're that kind of cat. And then you've got fat cats like mine that a rat could probably break in and they would run away from it, like a lot of the videos I see on the internet of indoor cats that are overfed.
Dude, some rats in New York City are bigger than cats. I've seen personal.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy videos. I don't have firsthand, so I won't speak like, oh, that's crazy.
And the numbers are incredible, dude. You walk through the city late at night when it's garbage night, the garbage is out. Yeah, dude, it's pretty
Once it
crazy.
gets picked up, like
They're
the
like the wild
ground
hogs of the
moves.
city.
Yeah, like 6, 7 of them, and they were fucking big.
I heard their tails like get
Not
locked
like,
together because there's so many of them. They like get tangled up and shit in the garbage piles in New York. It's just
and there's footage of this one Burger King dude at night. I don't know who took it, but yeah, it's very it's eye opening.
you gotta be you
Did
know,
you say it was a Whopper?
they give those health code
We're
inspectors
way
like
out of this.
48-hour notice, right? So it's like they could have the grossest place ever, and then they
Yeah.
show up like, oh, we're gonna
Yep.
be here in 2 days to
Pay
do a
two,
health
a
code
couple
inspection.
people overtime. Yeah.
Someone needs to be there.
And some of them still fail. Like my wife worked at this cheesecake factory for a little while that opened, and they had a C health rating. Like I got food poisoning from fucking sliders there one time. I was like, it's a cheesecake factory. You'd think that they'd have their shit together, but it's just I don't know. Sometimes
Dude,
you can't hire and train enough good people and
I
short
believe
enough
I
time.
got food poisoning once, and it is. I had to have been because it was like just one day I just puked and felt violently ill. Like I puked like 7, 8 times. Then I puked out this green fluorescent liquid, which I thought was like my stomach bile, dude, for real. And then like
It
20
probably
minutes
was.
later, 20 minutes later, I was right as rain just about. I drank some water and it was like I was 100% after that. It was insane. But we're way off track, man.
Yeah, sometimes you got to get it out, but cannabis actually helps with nausea.
Yes,
It's
there
one
you
of the
go.
best things for like getting back to cannabis side of things. Chemotherapy, a lot of people on top of losing your hair were vomiting and having a hard time getting an appetite. And so cannabis is like one of those things that I'm curious if you guys have found a particular strain that like if you're feeling nauseous that you reach for, is it just all cannabis across the board? I honestly, I hate to say this because like I love the idea that vaping and edibles have a great impact when they do, or like little pills and capsules. But I think the act of smoking actually calms my stomach a little bit, like the physical, like the sensation of the smoke coming in and out. Like some of it, not all of it, obviously it's going into your lungs, but like I've had a moment where I burp out smoke. So some of it is going down into my system, into my belly somewhere, or in my esophagus trapped. But I think that stimulating the esophagus, maybe even vapor would do that as well. But inhaling cannabis, I think,
Well,
is part of the reason that it helps with the nausea.
I
Like
think it's the weed because you can inhale cigarettes. My buddy, and this is like a long time ago when weed was not legal in New York, but he supposedly got the right to smoke it because he was wheelchair bound. And after he ate, he would have to smoke and he would burp. It would make him burp, literally, make him like, because you can't stand up and like, like you can stand up and jiggle. Like you see at eating contests, they jiggle so they can burp, but it does something, dude, for real. So I believe that to be real. Yeah.
it's
Also,
stimulating the
though,
GI tract, it's
I've
getting
also
that movement.
I've also seen someone do a gravity bond, cough to the extent where he just about puked, and I think he did puke out in the backyard actually. So that's an issue too, but that's a different thing. And that was probably some Mexican brickweed with freaking paraquat on it, perhaps.
I saw
But
some guy
I
say the other day,
digress.
if you haven't greened out from cannabis, I don't trust you. Fuck all your opinions if you haven't gotten so high that you question life. And I don't necessarily take that full opinion, but I just thought that was a funny statement to stand 10 toes down on it like he was.
That's so high the room was spinning. Shit's fucked
Dude,
up.
my eyes got blurry the first cannabis cup I went to. I was the judge like at this Oaksterdam University thing where you could pay to be the judge and you got samples. And yeah, dude. And I had money and I was just like everything, every vendor there was there. I was getting it. So there was brownies, there was cookies, there was drinks. I did like a drink, man. I swear that was one of the better things, like almost immediate. It was a milk thing. And I downed the whole thing like
The ice cream is what I
dude,
like.
it went right to my head, dude. I believe it was that. I mean, I was told by the end of it though, like I was saying, I really seriously cannot focus my eyes proper. And it was definitely because I smoked so much and was so fucking high. That was good though. That's a good thing.
I like getting high enough that my eyes get red because that's like a rarity nowadays.
Yeah.
Because the amount that I use is like the minimum threshold that I need to like feel better or just feel good or whatever. And so I'm not getting to the place where I'm just like absolutely blown away all the time. Like the highest I've ever been type thing. Because that's basically the only time my eyes get red at this point. So I'm not necessarily sure if that's a tolerance thing or whatever the case may be. But um, speaking of just going, we were talking about kind of resetting, getting back on like the grow topic, and we kind of did, but I was in the process of, and Tao, it sounds like you are as well, resetting my grow. So I'm curious, what is your guys' kind of plan or strategy when you do go to start a new grow? Like, do you have something that you do every single time in terms of cleaning the grow? Do you like to use bleach? Do you like to use soap? Do you like to use zero tall? Do you like to use hydrogen peroxide? What is your go-to method for cleaning up, resetting, and getting the grow looking right to hopefully start off on the right foot and have another good grow? I guess I'll pass it first to Tao because it sounds like you're probably going to be maybe
Yeah,
in the
I'll be
process like
doing it
myself soon.
eventually. You know, I clear out everything, and so I don't use bleach. No, I never use bleach, but I'll use I could use some cleaning products sometimes, but I usually just use water, I think. And the past few times though, it's been like months, so I wasn't worried about certain things. But I clean everything so it's bright and the reflectivity of everything is, you know, as best it can. And if I had any fans, I clean the fans. Uh, and I start extra seeds, that's for sure. And other than that, yeah, I probably should do more. I should prepare better. I should write shit down. So
Well, you've
yeah,
been doing it so long and it's been working for the most part, but we all have our setbacks here and there. And sometimes it's not even
fucking
for
do
lack of SOP, it's other shit. You know, our lives
it.
get
Get in the
busy
way.
and so that can interrupt as well. But I'll pass it next to our guest, Raptor Grow, and ask, what do you like to do when it comes to the reset? Any particular cleaning solutions that you go to, or any habits or SOPs that you kind of stick with each grow?
Yeah, my basic cleanup that I try to just do weekly is soap and water. Like don't like I even I make a Jadam wetting agent. So I have my own soap basically. So this can be used as IPM, like as a foliar IPM. And if it's good enough to kill them on the plant, it's good enough to kill them when they're on the walls, when they're whatever crevices. So that's my go-to. I use this as a body soap. So that's my straight up IPM, like on me. And then I make sure to change my clothes and shower just as often as I can. Uh, if I like, it's in the same that black furry shit. That's one of my tents. So it's right with me. Whether like it's in my room. To go a little further, like once a month, I tried to I have two tents. I have one veg and I have one in flower. So every month, when one goes in and one goes out, I always try to just do soap water and hydrogen peroxide. If if I really think it's gonna be a problem, I really want to get zero tall. So I'm glad you brought it up. That's another thing that I want to include on spraying on my plants and just in general, like a little clean out, because I feel like that's I think it's per peroxidic uh acid. Yeah. It's a mix of basically acetic acid. Yeah, peracetic acid. Yeah, it's just peroxide and peracetic acid and acetic acid together. And it's very strong. So if you were to try to make this, I've actually done it. It's fun. But yeah, you could make it at home, but just I recommend buying it. I think it's like 40 bucks. I really want to make the investment in that. It's something that I know that's going to be safe on my plants. It's just oxygen and hydrogen. That's it. You can't get more simple than that. So it yeah, I went over my basic, my little extra, and where I want to step up. And yeah, just wear fresh, clean clothes as much as possible. Take a shower, simple stuff like that. And if you keep that going, that's a good basic IPM. And if I do have something, I have Build a Soils oil mix, their essential oil mix. I use Captain Jack's spinosad mix, and then I actually I have a ferment going on, a mint ferment. So I'm just looking into that. Maybe that could be a little foliar if I put a little bit. See what goes on with that. I'll have to talk to people that are more experienced with ferments before I do that. This is my first full-on plant ferment. Yeah,
It's
that's
fun.
it.
The ferments and stuff like that can be used at such diluted ratios and still be extremely effective, which is impressive because oftentimes they're relatively low input costs, or you can make them yourself at home, like you're talking about with the Jada wedding agent, or things like FPJs. I think Caveman I've been talking about on last week's show, and lots of other really useful stuff out there in the Jadam and Korean natural farming, and even just natural farming across the board. There's so many good tips and tricks that are shared across varieties of crops, not just cannabis, but tons and tons of different
That
stuff out there.
reminds me, I would like to start making labs again. Uh, to just like add on to my microbe, like, and maybe even spray down once a month, just as like an after, like inoculate the walls.
That's
Kind of
another
feel
human friendly
okay.
one, right? You can like drink
Yeah,
that shit.
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, I take it back because I back it up a little. Speaking about not throwing away buds and plants and shit. One time I had something come in. I don't know what the fuck it was. It had this turquoise blue circular growth. Like it looked like I don't know, it looked like fuzz, circles of fuzz all over my plants and the leaves and everything, dude. I don't know what the fuck it was, but that was the only plants I ever threw out and didn't do anything with, compost them or anything like that. And I definitely sprayed everything. That time I had like a room with the that FRP board up. So I sprayed everything with bleach and then I let it dry. And then I rinsed it with some water and then I sprayed everything with hydrogen peroxide too once. So yeah, if something like that happens, I go crazy. And you gotta go crazy because and then like Raptor says, if you get your environment right, that's why it's also vital to have the airflow, fresh air, temperature is not, fucking fluctuating greatly and shit like that. Make sure everything's getting good flow. And yeah, but yeah, that was the only time, dude. I don't know what it was. I tried finding it on the internet. I didn't see any on any other shit. Like the time I got the termites, it took me a while, but I found out what it was, dude. And I didn't think it was possible. I didn't know. I thought they only ate dead wood. The babies of the termites burrow into your roots and then go into the plant and then eat the fucking stem out. That's what they do, dude. But yeah,
Nasty shit.
that blue turquoise circular fuzz was some sort of fungus growth. I don't know what, but I couldn't find
Yeah,
it.
some mold or fungus, I'd imagine. I've seen some different blue molds and turquoise type molds and funguses and stuff like that. So wouldn't
Is it
surprise me.
Zephyrol
Maybe
You
help
even
you
the
did the
out?
right thing.
yeast. Maybe even the
How'd you figure
yeast
it
had
out?
me with it.
He just killed
How'd
it, I
you?
think.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I threw it out. I put the dirt, the soil, the pots, everything in
Yeah.
black garbage bags and threw it out. Yeah, I didn't fuck with
Honest,
it. I didn't compost it. None of
we're
that.
we're all organic gardeners, but we know like a loss is a loss. Just
Sometimes
take
it
the
is best
yeah,
to cut it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, and that's
yeah.
why even going to the whole point of starting fresh, like if you do have to do it because of a mold or because of a good harvest, good or bad, when it comes to the reset, Spartan Grown, do you have any tips, tricks, or techniques or products that you like to go to for resetting your garden to get that next crop up and running well?
No, it's pretty simple. Kind of like what Todd was saying, I'll just use hot water. Really hot water is what I like to use. Mop the floors maybe. And if I get frosty, mop the walls maybe. If I'm really feeling, like I've got to do something. But that's really it. Sweep, mop, roll the next fucking containers and let's go. Um, I like to use hot water because it dries fast. I don't like water sitting around for a long time. And it helps clean, I feel like. I don't know why, but disinfect, I mean, the heat. So I'll just get boiling water, boil it up, throw it in the mop bucket, and just use really hot water. But yeah, I don't have any other real big tip because I'm pretty, lax maybe, I guess, because I just swap out, pull one planter in, put the other in wheels so I can just push them in and out.
I got a question for you, Spartan.
Yeah,
Let's say that you notice some dust on your shiny new LEDs. Yeah.
dust.
Yeah, like, or just in general, how do I keep up with it? I personally just use uh, alcohol and then a called
A microfiber cloth?
Thank you, microfiber cloth, and then just try to get that off.
So
Like if I can blow the dust off first, and then
it
like just
would
get the
depend. It would
remainder.
depend on the light because if it's a light that's got an exposed diode, that's just a diode. You can see the diodes. I would avoid even using a fiber brush, and I would just hang the light like you normally would, unplug it, and then just get like a pump sprayer of soapy water and spray up at the diodes. It can take like a little bit of water spray, but it's not gonna, and the soapy water is gonna help penetrate oils and break that stuff down. And then gravity is gonna pull the water off of the light, so it's not sitting in water. Um, when you use the microfiber, even the microfiber, it can scratch the lenses and the coatings that are on the LEDs. Now, there's some LEDs that have lenses on them. If they have lenses and covers over them, then you're good. You can go ahead and wipe them as much as you want. So depending on what kind of light that you have, that's how I kind of go about doing it anyway. And as far as dust, if it's just dust and it's on the top fins or the heat sinks, I'll just wipe that off with a damp cloth and it'll catch that dust as you go through. But I don't think that's even I wouldn't even have to really spray that off, I don't think. I think you'd be okay just with a damp cloth wiping it off.
Keep it
Thank you.
simple. And I mean, I've seen a whole bunch of different stuff, but it's probably best if your diodes are exposed to not, potentially damage or scratch or remove coatings, things like that. But a lot of them are covered at this point, so it really does depend on the light. I've always liked, I know it seems a little extreme and people don't tend to love it as much as I do, but if I'm doing a deep clean or a reset, like I'll pull all the pots out and do the floors and the walls and ceilings and everything. But just a diluted bleach solution, whatever it's like a cap full per gallon or something, it's like a small-ish amount, whatever the recommended dilution is. And then I'll follow that up with a soap and water, usually twice.
Recommended dilution is like a cup or 2 cups. It's a lot of bleach.
Yeah, so whatever
Be
it is, I always
surprised.
Google it before,
Yeah.
and I just follow whatever the recommendation is. And then after that, because it has, and like I just looked up the hot versus cold water, and I think you want to use cold water when you're using it outside of the laundry situations because it off gases more of that bleach smell if you're using hot water. If you're using just plain water, like Spartan and Tao were talking about, just plain hot water is great because hot water, like if you've done dishes in a sink or in a dishwasher, you'll realize the hot water is more effective at removing oils and dirt and stuck grime and caked on stuff generally. So that warm water is a benefit there. I follow up with warm water, which is usually like a Dr. Bronner's like citrus or lavender or salsa. Because it just soaks up really well. It's really good natural. It's local to me. They're a good company in general, but I like their soap and it smells good. It gets any of the residual bleach off by the second one every single time. The first time, sometimes you'll still smell a little like I have a very, very sensitive nose. So I'll smell faint bleach smell after the first wipe down with the soap and water. Second time, it's always completely gone. And I feel like at that point, I'm pretty good to get going with the next grow. And I think that cleanliness is really important, but I don't think it's an every grow necessity if you keep things clean throughout the grow. Like right now, when I reset and chop things down, like I left some like dead plant material, leaf material, dead leaves in there and stuff. So I'm gonna go through, pull all that stuff out, clean it up because anything like that to me leads to molds, mildews, and potential issues moving forward. If it was all fresh, green, clean, healthy material the entire time, I'd be less concerned. But there was stuff that like I let get overgrown, and so I had some leaves die off underneath, and stuff that I just kind of plucked and let sit on top of the soil. So it's a different reset situation than if I had just gone all the way through harvest, had everything relatively clean the whole entire time, and then reset. So that was kind of why this was a little bit top of mind. But we've talked about it for a good 15 minutes. I think another topic I want to get into before we close it down, and I'll pass it, I guess, first to Tao because I think he's got a little bit of experience with this so far. I don't know how much exactly. I know he's done a few different breeding projects, but what do you look for when it comes to the male side of things? It's Father's Day after all, and the males are the side of things that we really don't talk too much about when it comes to cannabis breeding. So, do you have anything from smells to morphology to root structure to I don't know, any testing that you like to do on them for stress or anything like that? In general, what makes you select the male you breed with?
Well, like the cheesequake I wanted to continue, but I didn't like the female. But and I had another plant that I wanted to that I just had a bag seed that was only a girl. So I wanted to add some of the cheesequake to make the other one maybe because the structure of the cheesequake was what I really loved. So yeah, it all depends. But that was and then the other one I used a blueberry male, and that was because the blueberry was blueberry, and it was an awesome plant. But from when I had different males to choose from, I go by structure mostly because, um, especially when I was using that cheesequake one, I wanted to get a stronger plant with that other plant, that the female that I was using, and but then I used that cheesequake male a whole bunch of shit, and it was killer. But you really got to grow out the seeds from whatever male you choose, because even and then I had a couple that were actually throw up some pistols, and yeah, I fucked with them. I let them get dried out and a little this, a little that. But yeah, basically, if you just pick the best one that you got and what your goal is. So like, yeah, the blueberry one, I really didn't have many to choose from, to be honest, and all of them were pretty good, but that one was, it had the look pretty much is what it was. It was healthy plants, the height I wanted. One was like way taller, and like yeah, it depends on what you're trying to do, I would say.
Yeah, the
As
project
far as
goal
me,
matters because sometimes
yeah,
it's just a matter of like, oh, I want this genetic to be crossed to that genetic, and this is the best of my thing, and I want to see how they pair together, maybe on a flavor front. So the morphology is not as important as the background DNA and what they both bring from a chemotype sort of perspective.
and
And
then
it's harder to tell in the male though sometimes, but you're kind of going off of what the parent lineage is and what your females are presenting to you, it sounds like.
after that though, then I grew out some of the offspring of the cheesequake, and the freaking that shit was legit. So the blueberry I crossed the male cheesequake to the blueberry, and some of those were just totally cheese, dude. My buddy grew out the plant, and it was like I was like, dude, this is like because all mine were like blueberry, smelled and tastes like blueberry. He had this one dude, it was like cheese, like funk, total funk. And I was just like, damn. So, and then after that, I had that time red that I wanted to. The time red plant was just awesome, and I didn't even think about it. I was just keeping that as a clone. But when I had that blueberry mother, I was just like, yeah, I have a time red female, and I might as well hit that with it. And then I didn't think twice about it. But when I grew that shit out, that was like the best blueberry plant that the flavor was just awesome. But yeah, so that's pretty much my experience with the males.
There's so much to choose from, honestly. Like, I think everybody I ask or talk to about it has a different take on what they do and why. And that's why it's always fun, especially on Father's Day, I think, to talk about the father plants, so to speak, because they're becoming less and less a part of the process as feminized seed, as feminized autoflower becomes the regular, like kind of most commonplace thing on a lot of big commercial seed banks. Reg seeds have fallen quite a bit by the wayside. And so on top of reg seed falling by the wayside, there's less and less people out there growing males on purpose. We usually kill them. We usually use Farmer Freeman, Easy XY, or some other tissue testing solution or some sort of strategy to, put it in your flower room for a couple days or a week or however you want to go about figuring out the sex of your plants. But most people find the males just so that they can remove the males, not so that they can keep and use the males. So, in your case, you've had a couple different projects, so it's awesome to hear kind of what went into that. And in some kind of times, it might just be sort of like a matter of convenience. You've got that RB proprietary female. You don't have a male example of that. So unless you want to reverse it, which is kind of a big hassle, it's like I've got a male over here and I've got a female that I like over here. Why don't I put them together and see how they work? And it seems like it worked out well in that circumstance. And I was really impressed by the Amiace's how cheesy it was. It definitely had some rubbery aromas and some citrus aromas, but the vast majority of it was just like pure cheese, like a white cheese or something. I don't know. It was just a nice, not quite like a cheddar or American, but like a nice white, I don't know, more creamy cheese or something like that. But it was fire. It was super, like I liked it a lot. It was a good yielder too. So Amy Aces is one that I've seen lots and lots of people grow it too. So shout out to all the people out there growing the Amy Aces and maybe using some of their males and selections and things like that. So I'm curious, Raptor, have you ever played around with any male plants?
Uh, yeah, it was, it just happened to be the only male in my plant and what I got. So I was just like, you know, I just, it was more of an experiment. I did not treat it as like, oh, hey, this is my like my cornerstone of like everything that I'm gonna work on. It's like, no, I'm just trying to understand like how everything goes about and how many seeds I can get and like understand the like I can read all I want, but if you don't do the process, it doesn't matter. So I highly encourage people just like uh don't just like pollen chuck and then sell seeds like that. But I recommend just trying it. And then, hey, if you happen to see something along the way, great, incorporate that. That's a great inclusion, especially with what's going on in a couple months. Yeah, definitely get to understanding everything. It's just gardening. It's just gardening. Like,
With anything, it's kind of like
yeah,
that. I heard a guy
just try
say
it.
you could read 1,000 books on how to build a chair. But the first time you go to build that chair, you're going to think, oh shit, I wish I would have cut that arm a little longer. I wish I would have done this a little different. I wish I would have done that. And by the time you do your 100th chair or your 50th chair, your 10th chair, it's going to be way better than your first one. Regardless of if you've read 1,000 books or 10 books or one, you're going to find tips and tricks that help you be more successful a lot quicker and shorten your learning curve by reading. And if you have a good resource, it can definitely help. But everybody sort of finds, just like with growing cannabis, there are Ed Rosenthal's got a book. You know, my book's not about how to grow; it's just about the history of the plant. But there's Jorge Cervantes has books. Mel Frank has books on how to grow the plant, and the list goes on and on and on. There's hundreds or thousands of cannabis grow books out there, but probably no one on this panel or out there listening follows step by step every single thing in any one of those books. Because as much as you can do that, just like you can bake a cake with the store recipe, and get a result that is acceptable and edible or whatever, once you start to figure out the mechanics of the operation, you could be like, oh, I like mine a little doughier, so I'm going to add a little more egg, or I'm going to cook it a little bit less or at a lower temperature, or I like mine a little bit tougher and a little drier, so I'm going to cook it a little bit longer. And so you start to learn, I don't have to play exactly by the rules and the thing that's set up for me. I can use the LED light, but I can also have a CMH light. It might not be ideal, it might not be perfect, but I like that and it works for me and I have them both. So I'm going to use both of them. And I know people that do that and they fucking crush it. So I'm like, you know what? Power to you. Like it's not everything has to be optimal, right? We can get the budget light, we can get the inexpensive tent, we can get the not quite perfectly fit to the tent grow light or fan or whatever, and get a second fan or a third fan or replace it with a stronger fan later on and figure it out. But we can also get by with, you know, damn near nothing. You know, I saw a guy growing inside of a hula hoop with a Mylar safety blanket, you know, that they used to wrap around people for shock. And he had a little grow light that he got on Amazon, like a spider farmer or something like that. And he was growing a plant under it, and it was fucking successful. And like, you know, his home environment was good enough that he got that plant to grow and grow and grow, and he got a harvest out of it. And I think he still might use that as a little setup. And it just shows that, like, I think he did the whole setup for like under $100 and was able to start harvesting plants. And I'm like, it's easy to overthink and it's easy to overspend and want the newest, latest, greatest. But, you know, even the very first Vivo Sun tents, as nice as the newer ones are, my first one worked for years and it grew pounds and pounds of plants that were awesome. And I learned so much just by doing that. Getting onto the male selection side of things, um, who was it in the chat? I replied to him. Third Eye Travels 11 said that sometimes even when they use the Farmer Freeman, they'll grow out the males just to see them. And I'm like, dude, that's so cool because I did that like the first 2 or 3 times too. One, because I didn't trust Farmer Freeman the first couple times. I was like, is this guy right? Because I got like 15 or 16 plants and it was like 13 males and 3 females. And I was like, there's no fucking way. So I kept all the males, flowered them all, and sure enough, they were all actually males. So in that, I actually got to see the different structure. Oh, this one is flowering at day 12. This one is flowering at day 15. This one is flowering at day 21. And also, like, if it got a little bit underwatered or overwatered, or if you kept it in a small pot for too long, it would just start to, like, certain stuff want to throw, like, it's a male, so it's not nanners, but it wants to throw pollen sacs in veg and if it gets stressed out. And that's like a pretty common thing with males. And so there's lots of different tests Kyle Breeder put me on to, like, that one being one, a root bind test, making sure that it doesn't become sexually unstable or start throwing pollen in veg just because it's kept in a solo cup for too long. Because then that's a male that you're not going to want to necessarily keep around because you might accidentally pollinate your stuff that you don't want to pollinate. And so it's a consideration. But I think Subcool was a fan of like not taking the first male that threw pollen. And I was a big fan of his breeding work and just the results speak for themselves in my opinion, and smoking all of the different people's stuff that I've smoked over the years, his stuff like was very close towards the top, so I respect a lot of what he says. But that being said, doesn't mean that it's all factually accurate. He could have been lucky, better lucky than good sometimes, but also I think his intuition was probably right in a lot of the ways, and he'd look stuff up. He'd be like, I don't like the first flowering one because it's like hemp and it grows up the tallest, the fastest, and it puts out the stuff the fastest, and it might be the lowest THC. And I think that was his justification. I could be misremembering, but it was something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe you don't take that first one because it's just trying to get tall and just spread its seed. And it the first is ain't always the best, right? If you ain't first, you're last. The whole Ricky Bobby thing, that might not be the thing for male selection. I think symmetry is one that is really underestimated, like a really uniform plant, a candelabra kind of grow style versus just like the what I call like a upward Y or like a more vertical, aggressive, upward, vigorous growth is something to consider because a lot of people are growing intense nowadays or in smaller spaces. And even on the commercial side, I've come to enjoy plants that are my size or smaller, which is like, around 6 feet or less. And I don't think that plants need to be as cool as I think it is to see the Mendo Dope monsters and the guys like on Growing Your Greens going for that 10-pound plant or like the Blue Dreams that are like 12, 13 pounds and shit like that. I think ultimately most people are going to have more success with a plant that they can like reach their arms out and it's maybe not wider than them. They can get in there and reach their arm all the way to the center stalk with, a regular arm length and not have to kind of go blind because the plant is so big. They're only able to work on the outside, first foot and a half or 2 feet or whatever it is. And unless you literally crawl inside of it, which I've seen people do, they hollow out the centers and I see people go in there and they're like in there plucking around and stuff like that. Kind of feels like my logo a little bit, like the whole Jack and the Beanstalk situation where you're a little tiny person with this big giant plant or whatever. But you got to do what you got to do. And it sounds like, especially in Spartan's situation with the outdoor, once those things start putting on leaves and you start plucking them, they just keep on putting them on for the rest of the season. So you almost got to be a little strategic with it and not pull them too early and make them ultra, ultra leafy. But at the same time, if you don't do it, then you're going to end up with so many leaves that you can't keep up with it at some point. So
Yeah, it's generally plant train, plant train, plant train. Okay, fuck it. Leaf strip. All right, leaf strip until the end, until harvest.
that's what it comes down to sometimes. And I just realized I was having so much fun that I lost track of time. We only got about 2 minutes left, and there's like four of us we can go over because there's no more Michigan Bros Grow Show to worry about running into. But that being said, I want to give everybody a good amount of time. Don't be rushed for final thoughts and shout outs, starting with our special guest this evening, Raptor Grove. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything. I'm looking for like the right size plant, that's gonna fit you or just like your customer basis. Maybe if you're going for that, think about them as well. If you're like, hey, like this, maybe trying to help out disabled people. Maybe have something squat and like a little easier and to handle is a little better. So there's different things. Don't just think about like, oh, like obviously go for the medicine that's going to help the people. But yeah, think about the size too. I like that you brought that up, and then just in general, like the little like, oh, don't do the first plant. I actually constantly hear that from Jeff. Yeah, shout out to Jeff. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure, and big shout out to Rasta Jeff, Irie Genetics, and Grow From Your Heart podcast. If you guys haven't listened to that, uh, do a big fat dab and give your mom a hug for me. I don't know if he still says that anymore, but he used to for a long time, and he's the man. Shout out to Rasta Jeff, RJ. He's Irie Genetics, Irie Direct, got lots of cool stuff going on over there. And next up, we got Spartan Roan.
Well, thank you, Jack. Thank you, Raptor, for jumping on, and everybody who jumps on all the time, and Tao and uh, chat, of course, everybody in chat, and everybody who listens after the show. Happy Father's Day, and I don't have anything to add. I'm well medicated. Much love, and keep growing, everybody.
Hey, great having you. I know that you are not only a father but a grandfather, so you got lots of the fatherly duties. But it sounds like you were taking care of the garden that you're a father of as well. So I'm glad that you got to bust that out. Spartan's doing so much work over there. People, y'all don't even realize this man is a machine. He really just in his own garden and his business. He's constantly working. Back when there was another show to go to, he would be going to another 2 hour podcast right now. If Michigan's Grow Show was still going, he'd still be there. So shout out to you, Spartan, and all the stuff that you put out to the community and the work that you're doing locally with the politics and all that for cannabis. It's amazing. And I'm glad that you are one of those people that's representing us because you're a great person to do it.
Thanks, Jack, man. I really appreciate that.
We appreciate you. And last and certainly not least of our panelists this week is the American one.
Jack, as always, thanks for the hosting abilities. We muchly appreciate it. Raptor, thanks for popping in. Spartan, always good to see you, kid. Everyone in chat, I'm glad I made it this week. I know I've been a little in and out, and I'm glad I was here. Shout out to everyone. And yeah, I was just looking at some of my photos. I put plants out that I had in cups that were clones when the lady was selling the house I was living in. I put them out July 31st. And there was one that was called Doug's Exodus Cheese, DEC, because I got the weed from Doug and he said it was Exodus cheese and I got the seeds out of it. Well, let me tell you, that was some of the best weed that I ever smoked, almost ever. But yeah, so you can still do it now. That's what I'm telling you. The long and short of it is, I'm going to start up some seeds right now and hell or high water, I'm going to make sure they're in the ground and survive one way or another. And I think everyone could do it too. So let's do it. And that's it. Keep growing. I'm stoned out of my skull. This weed this cheesequake by this chocolate tie shit. And it's fucking working, man. I haven't been stoned in a while, people. So just to let you know. All right. And yeah, it's a lot of shit going on with me. And I got this, I'm babbling. Dude, I got this mulberry extract. Wait, Mullen. The shit's fucking clearing my lungs out. Let me tell you, boys, man. That's why
It's
I
real
smoke
good.
this weed really good again, because the shit clearing my lungs up a little.
My buddy
Right.
Vegan Dojo put me on that Mullen. You can smoke it and it is good for your lungs. And
I'm not smoking. It's in a tincture. And I got this other shit from the arm. It's called like lung and sinus formula with herbs and extracts and shit. Dude, we lived on this earth. Pharmaceuticals have only been around for 100 years, dudes. So yeah, just think about that in the long spate of history. And
Yeah, if you
how
think
we,
cannabis is medicine, just wait till you find all
well,
the other medicinal plants, man.
dude, it's unbelievable. Like I would have never thought. I'm like, I'll try this shit. And it freaking legitly like works
Mullen
like
just
a
grows on the.
drug. It works
You
better
can
than the
drive down the
drug.
highway. You can drive down
Well,
the highway and see mullen just growing.
yeah, I
It's
see it
just
all over
everywhere.
now that I know what it is, Spartan. And that's what I'm thinking too. That shit's with the fucking right on the side road. I don't want to be taking that shit. I'll be smoking exhaust, diesel fumes. But yeah.
Oh, but you can get seeds. You can go
So
collect seeds and then plant
so
those
they
seeds.
grow it. The people and you can buy it online. I bought like this bag of it, the dried leaf. You can buy it and smoke it. You can smoke it. But yeah, the shit's legit, dude. I've been so
Doesn't taste very good smoking. I'll tell
no,
you.
it doesn't. Yeah, I tried it. It's not very good. Maybe
a
just a
little bit in the mix.
little bit. Yeah, minute amount in the mix of a good joint. But I wouldn't even do that. I don't know. This tincture and these dried capsules are killing it, dude. Like, yeah, I would have never thought that someone would be able to work like that, and it totally works. So I'll
Hey
testify,
man,
and
if
that's it.
you're
I babbled
out,
on enough.
if you're out in the country, like just go in to whatever you forage in general. This is a good overall. Just go a mile in, like away from any road. Just go a mile
Yeah,
away from a
that
road,
makes sense to me.
and then you like that's what we all
Don't
like
do
kind of
so.
agree with. Yeah, yeah. So you're exactly right. Don't get that exhaust side of the road stuff. I don't touch any mushrooms that are like right by the road. I see them, I'll take a picture, like, oh, cool, mushrooms. But that gives me a good clue, like, hey, if it's here, it's a mile out in the road somewhere too. So yeah, just be safe. But yeah, you definitely forage, definitely get into it. Start understanding your plants, just like you said. Once you see it once and you know what it is, you see it everywhere. So get in that mindset, pattern recognition of those things.
Well, and
Right?
like
Yeah.
Spartan and Tower saying, like pharmaceuticals have been like 100-year thing, but plant medicine has been a thing for thousands of years. And Lady G and I were just talking about like valerian root, even just like teas and stuff like that that can help sleep and other things. And there's plant medicine all over. The more that we look for it and we can grow it and enjoy it. But I will say, y'all know where to find me at Jack Greenstock on Instagram. Jack_Greenstock is my backup account, and my account on X, formerly known as Twitter. You can also go to 50strands.com. I got a few books left if you want some of the first edition of 50 Strands of Green. And I'll finish it off by saying another quote from one of my favorite breeders that I mentioned earlier, Subcool. Have a dank day. Keep on growing, everybody. Cheers. Growers love. And I'll catch you all next week. Have a good one.